What's going on, everyone? Hope you've had a safe and awesome last couple weeks. I know we weren't here for 4th of July, but we figured a lot of people weren't going to be here. So we just decided, we'll postpone this till next week. Also give people, a chance to go watch Supergirl. Now, if you think this is going to be a love fest for this movie, if some other folks show up, couldn't be further from the truth. Some of us liked it, some of us didn't. Totally fine. It's always great to hear, different opinions. Joey, what's going on, boss? Good to see you. So, as always, got some stuff to talk about before I bring others on. Remember, Ben 10 number 2 exclusive UV cover by Eric Canete, still available. I think the numbers are getting kind of low on it, so if it seems like something you're interested in, pick that up. There's also a bundle that includes all 4 covers that Jay Fosgett did for number 1 and, of course, number 2. And since this has been shared around and we haven't really talked about it a whole lot, limited to 50 copies. It is another UV Eric Canete for issue number 3. So, again, I don't know how far we're going to go with this series. Hopefully we make it to 10. Who knows? But this is an awesome thing the Experience is doing. Thanks to the people behind the Experience, Miss Jen, Nick, Kyle, Ford, and thanks to Dynamite for being the flag bearer on this. Hopefully, if these do well, not only will we do more covers, but maybe we'll have some other companies we can get exclusives for. But you can find this on the website. Like I said, this one is limited to 50 copies. So if you're an Eric Canete fan or if you've been digging this Ben 10, I think I'm behind on this issue, but just knowing the basics of Ben 10, have been digging it. So make sure you check it out. And even if you don't get our exclusive, check the book out anyway. It is really good. Let's see. What else is there? Kickstarter going on right now for issue number 12 plus trade number 2 of Immortal Era from Edward Davis. I'm going to pop that link in the chat there. You can go check that out. Right there. Now, this is... I lost my place here. That's fun. Okay. So, the creative team behind this, Edward Davis, Cesar Oliveira, Maja Opacek, and I'm sorry if I butcher that. We got Dan Smith and everyone's favorite Canadian, Chuck Pino, is the editor on this one, I believe. So be sure you go and check that out. Lorena, good to see you. I feel like I missed you this week in the chat, but awesome to see you. Let's see. Then we got, of course, the pre-launch for O'Hare is still going on. This is part of the Periwinkle saga from Scott Wilkie and Bad Bug. Everything in this little, what I like to call Swilky Way Galaxy, has been amazing. So really excited to get this one in. And I'm going to do something a little bit out of order, out of character for here. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the book that was on Yep, I'm getting this out of the way kind of early tonight because we got a lot of stuff. Not only we're going to talk Supergirl and spoilers, we got. I had books that I haven't. It's not that I've read them; it's that I've already read them and would like to recommend to folks. And I know Sean's got some stuff he's read, and some of the other folks that might be joining might have some stuff they want to talk about. So, I want to talk about this. So, this was a pretty fun book. It's written by the same person who does the very, very popular series of books that I've never read, but I hear about them a lot. This is the free comic book day one. I know the cover says volume 1, but this is the free comic book day one that I got. So it's going to be a bit of a shorter review. So basically, you start out in this book a minute before the world ends with this guy in his boxers, Crocs, and a coat holding a cat. Then it takes you 1 minute before, or 1 minute after. I'm sorry, 1 minute after. Getting my words mixed up. It takes you 1 minute after. And I can already tell by the language and gore, this is going to be a fun one. Then we go back several minutes before the end of the world, and you find out the cat belongs to this guy's ex. And it jumps out a window. And at first, the dude's like, nah, it could freeze. It could freeze. It's not your cat, not your problem. Oh, then he's like, damn cat. And he goes out there to get the cat. Well, when he does this, it's when these aliens decide they're going to seize the planet. There's some weird code that didn't get followed by Earth or something. So the aliens come and everything and everyone inside any structure is crushed. And you see this kind of gruesomely with a decapitation that happens. So then they say any survivors are welcome to enter an 18-layer dungeon to reclaim stuff. And if they make it through all 18 levels, they basically own Earth, I guess, is what I got from it. So dude enters the dungeon. All these achievements start popping up and he's getting like all these rewards, but it doesn't look like he takes them. Like he's still kind of like, what the hell's going on? And the achievement descriptions are pretty funny. Like one is called Crazy Cat Lady because he entered the dungeon with a cat. And then there's one like, why aren't you wearing pants? Pants, because he's in his boxers. And apparently this whole thing's going to be broadcast for other races and aliens to watch, right? So I'll probably pick up the trade later because this looks like there's not going to be individual issues, which is fine because I remember when Scout had an imprint called Nonstop. And what that was is they would do an issue of a comic and then release the rest of it in a trade. And me being a trade guy, that works out perfect for me. So, like I said, I'm a trade collected edition comic reader. So I would tell you to definitely check this one out. Let me show you right here. So here's my free comic read day cover right there. This is coming from Vault Comics. Created by Matt Dinneman. Writer, I'm so sorry. Tiaga. Hey, what's up, Corey? Let's see. Laurel Pursuit. Cover and lead art by Kuzamari. Colors by Ludwig. Letters by Ali Saglul. Line art by Huaxan. Background art by Anna Kate. And reformatting and lettering by Macma. So I apologize beforehand if I butchered any of those names. But Dungeon Crawler Carl, I might give the books a chance. Apparently my job depends on it, and I'm pretty sure Kyle's only 75.8% kidding when he says that to me. So let's see. So last thing before I bring on everybody, I already showed that. Where's my thing at? There's the exclusive Ben 10. I have lost my place, folks. There we go. Make sure if you're not subbed up to the EXP, please do so. We'd love to have you. Great community. Most of the people that watch this show are part of that community. I appreciate you coming over and checking out my very not as put together as those shows show. But let us get to... There's my blank one. Folks, he's back again. Like, this is becoming a bit of a ritual that I'm enjoying. It looks like it may just be him and I tonight, and that's totally fine. One of the other heads of the Hydra Asylum, that's not what I wanted to do at all. That's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Where is my... Oh, this is great.
This is nowhere to be found.
There we go. You know what? We're going to do this, and I'm just going to take the QR code off because I don't know what happened there. So,
Good job, Jay.
Yeah, it happens. Oh
It's
my
hard to see
goodness.
people through the white thing in front of my face.
There we go, you big baby.
For anybody who wonders, my name is pronounced Sean. I speak the language of Irish, so I understand.
Jesus Christ.
So, anyway,
Wow.
what's going on, folks?
Oh, you know what? I'm guessing it looks like it's just going to be me and you tonight, so maybe it will be a little bit of a love fest for this movie.
Well, we both agree. We love the movie. But, folks, there's some parts.
Yeah.
There are some parts, for sure. I'm going to get this out of the way before we really dive deep into it.
Okay.
I can drop an F-bomb now, right?
Yeah.
To all the assholes that wanted to make fun of the movie because of how Millie Alcock looks, fuck you guys. That's the stupidest goddamn reason I have ever heard in my life. So, fuck all you idiots that talked about that. Millie looks just fine. Millie did awesome. She's Supergirl. It works for what they are trying to do. Corey, no, have not framed the hazers yet. Still trying to figure out how to do that. I've got a nice big spot on my wall, though, so that once we get it figured out, it's going to be up there, and I'll post a picture for you.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my on the soapbox thing for tonight.
Whoa, yes. Lorena
All right,
saw
Lorena
it.
saw it.
I won't have
Good.
to worry about like Superman. We're like, hey, we're not going to do spoilers, and then we just spoiled the entire movie.
Yep.
Very awesome. Very awesome. So, folks, also, I know they're not here just yet, but our sister channel right there. Yeah, sister channel right there, Weirdos Podcast. Nope has been doing some great Nope 3D printing shorts where he's showing all these awesome character boxes that he's made. Like, things look awesome. So make sure you check out the channel. And Lorena, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. I don't think she's ugly, but I'm also not like, oh my god, when it comes to her. Like, I don't think she's ugly, but, and I'm gonna admit, the Chaka memes, I did laugh at. I did think they were funny. The girl from Mad Max, I laughed. I thought it was funny. I have a messed up sense of humor, though.
I mean, Lobo being a beast wasn't surprising. We knew Jason was going to nail that.
Yeah. Again, I'm still surprised they got Lobo to play Jason Momoa.
Yeah. Well, you throw enough money at Lobo, even an immortal like him's like, my man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I've always said, ever since he was cast as Aquaman, I was like, man, that's a perfect missed opportunity. Because he's Lobo. Ever since I saw him in Stargate when he started growing the hair out. I'm not talking Baywatch days, Jason Momoa, but Stargate, when he started growing the hair out, I was like, you know what? I think this guy would be a pretty good Lobo. And then when you let that hair just get wild, I was like, why is this dude not Lobo?
Right. No.
I mean, he made Aquaman cool.
Yeah. He's Aqua Lobo.
Yeah.
Like he was literally a cigar away from being Aqua Lobo.
Exactly. So, what we'll do, like I said, I already did my book on the list because there's a lot of stuff to go through. Just a me and Sean show, which is fine. Got a couple of books. It's all the bike, but did Lobo has? Yes, Preston, he did, and welcome in. Good to see you.
Oh yeah, he had the cigar almost every moment you saw him on screen. It was great.
Exactly, Lorena. That is what it's good for, to give us stuff like that. So we got some books to talk about, and then Sean's got some books that he's read. He's going to talk about. I've got some stuff that I've read a long time ago that I would suggest checking out. So we'll start with one of Sean's. It's going to go kind of back and forth with this. And let me go ahead and fix this real fast because again, I thought it was going to be more of us, so I'll go ahead and do that. So, Sean, why don't you talk to us about Masterminds?
Yeah, God, it was I don't know what it was, but there was a long pause between issues 4 and 5, so I had to go back and read the end of 4 to kind of catch up again. Um, this is a very kind of twisty turny story. I love Zach Kaplan. He does kind of like your sci-fi and kind of mystery stuff like this really well. One of the things he's best at. Um, as for the ending of this, I mean, it was all right. It was very kind of twisty turny, almost like they brought a whole bunch of straws together or straw storylines together. Um, in this last issue, and kind of couldn't make up what they wanted to do until the very end of it. Um, but it was a decent closing out of it. I wouldn't say it was the best. It definitely didn't quite grasp my attention like the first 4 did. But still, it was a good series. They left it open to come back for more, type deals, and so not bad. I mean, if you guys want to check it out, the art's great. I love the art in this book. It's definitely worth checking out for sure if you kind of like those murder mysteries and whatnot.
Wow, very very cool. And I see a self-published graphic novel called Eve. Where'd you happen to find that? Did you buy it somewhere? Or I'm interested. I'm always interested when, especially when Corey. If Corey tells me to read something, or if Corey tells any of y'all to read something, you should read it. I haven't caught up on the newest Malevolent, but my goodness, that's a great book. That's a great book. Uh, all right, so a couple of things I want to show off real fast.
I think I found it on Amazon.
Oh, okay, cool.
Corey, is this by like Victor Jean Joe or something like that? Just let me know in the comments if that's it. If it is the one I found.
So this is, oh my goodness, y'all, my eyes are not what they used to be. Superman 85, part of Cat Grant's Revenge. This is one of my favorite, like, little self-contained stories in Superman. You have Toyman has killed Cat Grant's son Adam, and this book is about Cat wanting to get revenge. Cat's gonna kill him, and this is Superman trying to stop her, trying to bring Toyman to justice. This Toyman is very strange because he's like in a crib and saying stuff like "Mommy, don't let them hurt me." Like it's a very strange. Like I guess I haven't read enough Toyman in the old part of the DC universe that I don't remember him being like that, but in this one he is, and it just makes it that much more creepier. He believes that he's freeing these kids from evil parents when he kills them, and the end of this book is just it's a gut punch, but in a good way. Hey, Cantonese Comic Kid has the Vampirella book club he does with Triple B. I got your link here somewhere, buddy. I'll share it in just a second. So yeah, there's Cat Grant's Revenge, Superman 85. At least it says 85 on the cover. Yes, 85. All right. Now the next two I had to kind of look up because I've said this before, folks. It doesn't matter to me what a comic looks like. Sleepy Hollow is fantastic. Haven't had a chance to read the hub yet. Both Sleepy Hollows, the Witch in the Western Wood, and the regular one is very very good. This is a little 2-part thing. Don't ask me why I like it, other than I like saying it's the one with the racist ass blood sport because I like seeing him get his ass kicked. But they're coverless, folks. I want to eventually get to a point where I can, rebuy these with the cover on. But this is Adventures of Superman Volume 1, number 507. It's the first part. It's called Spilled Blood First Cut. Like I said, no cover, but I'm pretty sure I got these for free at a comic shop. There are some shops that, when they have damaged covers or coverless comics, they have a little, crate or something out there you can look through, and they're free. So I just want to read the story. Like if I can get the ones that have the cover, awesome. If not, I still have the story to read, and that's what's important to me. But this blood sport is named Alex. Man, dang it! I know his name's Alex, but this opening issue, man, was crazy when I first read it because it's a woman of color getting attacked in an alleyway by a gang that's both white and black guys. Um, and he takes out the gang, right? And first he takes out the the men of color, and then he turns to the white guys and is like, "You're a race traitor." Kills him, and then the woman being attacked, he kills her. So this one, I want to say that there is a hit on Jimmy Olsen. Like there's two issues. The second one is from, hold on, I had it pulled up. Action Comics Volume 1, number 694. So this is called Spill Blood Second Cut. It's a tight little, you know, two issue little arc. Oh my goodness. Um, Again, I just like seeing racists get their asses kicked, so maybe that's why I enjoy the story so much. Um, but yeah, like if you get a chance to check those out, read it. It's a fun story. I think it's also like why I really dig Superman Smashes the Klan, even though that's done in like a very anime kind of art style, and Superman doesn't fly in that one. He runs like he originally did. Um, so yeah, those are two that I wanted to throw out there real quick. We're gonna get to Sean's next book, and then I'm gonna go back and forth, kind of share the screen. We are
New
gonna
and old,
talk Supergirl, huh?
new and old and new.
That's right. So, Sean, tell me about this one.
Uh, so I will start off with saying, for anybody who has never read Secret Wars, like me, you'll be okay with this, because the story in and of itself is done well enough that you have a clear idea of essentially what happened in Secret Wars and what this story is going to do. So I'm going to start off by saying that. Um, I'm a little fuzzy on this one because I did read it a couple weeks ago, but essentially the main Peter Parker in Marvel Prime or 616 universe, whatever it is, gets stuck in an alternate universe, and they're trying to figure out how to send him home before he dies. In this universe, basically being bitten by a radioactive spider is just that. It's radiation poisoning. He got powers, but it's still slowly killing him. So they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on there. But he becomes a member of Shield. He's trying to help people out. It's a very, very cool comic, and like a lot of Spider-Man comics, the art is always good. It's one of those books where Marvel consistently is great with art. It's almost always on Spider-Man, kind of like Marvel is almost always got a consistently good Deadpool story. Everything else can stink, but Deadpool will always be good. And that's what this is. This is a solid story with really good art. I cannot speak tonight, folks. I'm rusty. Definitely check it out. Like I said, if you have not read any of the Secret Wars, you'll be okay. This will be its own thing because it's a what if story.
Very cool. I haven't read a ton of what if stuff. Like some of the ones that I've read though they've been pretty solid. All right, just finishing up something on this side. All right, so next one I want to talk about, Woman of Tomorrow.
I
The
need to go
comic.
back and read that now.
The movie is, I'm going to say, very loosely based on. There's a lot more that happens in the comic that you see on screen. And it took me till today to, again, folks, there's going to be spoilers about the movie, to figure out that You can't speak because you aren't real. Ohio's not real, but you're still here, Kyle. Uh, I thought the villain died at the end of this book. And it took me looking at the book again. I was like, oh, no, he wasn't. He was just hurt really badly. So, this one, folks, look, if you didn't enjoy the Supergirl movie, I would still tell you to check this out. If you love the Supergirl movie, check this out. It might change your opinion on the movie, it might enhance it. Who knows? No, Lobo is not in this, but like we have said before, in the original pitch, Lobo was going to be in it. But I think some things that some folks might not know is the comic stuff, the TV stuff, the movie stuff. They're kind of all kind of separate by like what people can do. Um, so they wanted the movies wanted to use Lobo for a movie. So they told the comic side, yeah, don't put him in the book. We're going to use him. It's kind of like Arrow season 3 was supposed to have a lot of things happen, but they kept being told, you know, no, we're using this character for the movie. You can't use him. So it was one of the Arrow seasons that got chopped to complete hell because they couldn't use the storyline they wanted to because they kept getting told whatever. So unfortunately, comics, movies, TV shows are usually pretty separate. But again, this right here, folks, it's a thick book. It really is. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people aren't big on Tom King. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed his Mr. Miracle run. Wasn't the biggest fan of Heroes in Crisis. I don't think it really stuck the landing, but I don't hate the guy as a writer. And that's something about the movie that, people want to blame a certain sect of fans. And I'm going to say this. There are more than just a few sects, whatever, however you say that word, of those kind of fans. There are people that downright hate Tom King. It's thick. There's people that just hate Tom King. There's people that don't like Bilquis, or I can't ever say her name, and I apologize. Bilquis Evely's artwork. There are people that don't like the Woman of Tomorrow's story, and it's not because they don't like Tom King. Just the story isn't for them. They're Supergirl fans that do not like Woman of Tomorrow. And again, totally fine. Like all this stuff is subjective. If you read this and dig it, let us know. If you don't, still let us know. We know that things we're gonna put out there to people, they're not always gonna hit. There's gonna be some flops, like we know that. But I would just tell you, give something a shot, because you never know when you're gonna be like, oh, you know what? That was actually pretty good. I would have never read that unless somebody suggested it to me, and that's kind of the point of the list too, is going out of the comfort zone that I have with what I read to read something that somebody out there suggests for me. So just want to point that out. We'll get back to Sean in just a minute. So this next one I want to talk about, I wouldn't say I'm a huge wrestling fan now, but I was a big wrestling fan up until about my 20s, right? I'll still watch clips of wrestling. That is weird. I don't know. I can see you, Kyle.
I can see you in here, but I can't see anything in the actual chat on YouTube. It's weird, but it doesn't update for me either.
Wow.
But I see everything for Kyle on here. So.
Well, just know, folks, we can still see you. I don't know what this is the weirdest thing about Restream and YouTube chat. It's so strange. But anyway, so when there's wrestling books out, I get them. Butts and Seats, the Tony Schiavone story from Dirk Manning. Arn Anderson, My Life as the Enforcer, also by Dirk Manning. Hardstyle Juice, I forget who does that. I have not read Do a Powerbomb yet, but this is Crimson Cage by John Lees with Alex Cormack and Ashley Cormack. This is like Macbeth in the 80s territory wrestling. Fantastic book. And if you know John Lees, you know how great he is at writing horror, psychological horror, regular horror, whatever you want to call it. Even if you are not a wrestling fan, this book right here you should definitely check out. Now, before we go any further, folks, I got a little surprised. Didn't know this was going to happen until a few minutes ago, but I wanted to bring somebody on because we did talk about his Kickstarter at the beginning of the show. So please, folks, help me welcome in the Immortal Era writer himself, Mr. Ed Davis.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
Well, thank you for letting me crash. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course, man.
I'm reaching out like, hey, do you still do your Saturday show? He's like, in fact, right now.
Awesome, man. So issue 12, volume 2.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's one that I've been excited for because I have so much that's going to happen in issue 12, and then the series just it's a wild ride from that point on. I mean, not that it's been peaceful and calm the whole way, but it really gets crazy after issue 12 because that's our halfway point of the series.
For folks that might not know, why don't you give us the pitch? What's the pitch on Immortal Era?
So Immortal Era is a post-apocalyptic story that takes place 200 years in the future in a world where everyone has gained immortality. So with this immortality, they don't get any kind of powers or abilities, so they continue aging, they still get sick. There's a character in this story who's just a decapitated head who has to who's forced to keep living on. So it centers on a group of heroes that are out hunting for relics because they want to discover what caused this immortality and find a way to reverse it and save humanity by killing them.
And folks, I tell this story every time we're either talking about Ed. I told this story the last time he was on the show, okay? So way back in the day when we were Triangle of Truth, we had an email, and Ed had sent us some PDFs of the first 2 issues. I think first 2, maybe first 3 issues.
Maybe
I can't remember.
2 or 3 for sure.
2 or 3.
Nothing beyond that. I know that much.
And I was terrible about checking emails for that stuff at the time. But one day I just happened to be going through the emails, and I saw these 2, and I read them back to back, and I reached out to Ed, and I was like, man, I am so sorry I missed this. This is a fantastic story. And that was just the 2 issues.
Yeah.
I've got the trade for volume 1. I have missed out. I don't know if it's a Kickstarter not sending me notifications, even if I have like the save thing on. But I've missed the last couple of issues.
Yeah.
But again, and that Dr. Mann, yeah, always still creeps me out. Still creeps me out on his little spider. Yeah. But it's a fantastic book, and I love the fact that in the world today where post-apocalyptic is almost like every comic, yours was so different because we don't just stay in that post-apocalyptic era. We kind of go back. We see what kind of started this whole thing. Like, I want to say that's the opening of issue 1.
Issue 2. Oh, issue 1, we get the flashback to the first day of immortality.
Okay. But it's like just the way that it's nobody has powers. You don't have a healing factor. You have none of that. So if you lose a limb, it's gone. If you don't get it treated, you just bleed forever, I guess. But yeah, it was such an interesting thing because it wasn't like any other post-apocalyptic thing I'd read at that point. And don't get me wrong, I still I'm the tropey guy. I love my zombies. Post-apocalyptic, give it to me all day.
Oh yeah.
But yours was different. Like, I'm reading it and learning that it's this group of people led by a father wanting to find this stuff because, like you said, the only way to save humanity is to end it because there's still population growth. There's food is very limited, so much so that you have cannibals in this as well.
Oh yeah.
So, folks, I'm telling you, the link is in the chat. I don't do this justice when I try to talk to people about it. This is something that you should really read for yourself. Get some back issues. by all means, please check that. You got 22 days left in the campaign. Like, it
Yeah.
kind of just started.
Yeah, we're still, this is the, I guess we've officially finished 1 week. We've had pretty good progress. We had one really crazy day where I lost like $500 in pledges.
Oh,
And it's kind of like this uphill climb. And I think now we're maybe like $40 or $50 away from recouping and being back to not losing those. But it was the craziest thing. It was just going up, up, and then you see this gigantic, like Thelma and Louise off the cliff on this one day. And yeah, since then it's been moving again, but it's like, holy crap, it was a brutal thing. But I mean, it's tricky because I have people who are the wait for the trade people, and I respect that, because when I buy Marvel and DC, generally I buy an issue 1 and then I wait for the trade. So I'm guilty of the same thing.
yeah.
But when it comes to them, I said, it's not like I'm going to have you a trade in 6 months. Each
Right.
trade's about 2 to 3 years in the making, because my goal is always to release 3 books a year. But now that I have 2 different series that I'm launching, it's not all 3 Immortal Era. Usually it's 2 Immortal Era and 1 something else, where last year's something else was a little horror one-shot that I wrote called Floaters. So that one, I just put it out there, and that was what held Immortal Era 12. But I also knew I needed to get the money for the trade, hardcover, softcover, and all the different floppies.
Right. And a lot of people, I know there's a lot of trepidation when it comes to Kickstarter things, right?
Mhm.
Because they're like, man, depending on price, and this isn't your price, and this is just a blanket thing I'm going to say, $12 for a single issue, right? And when I tell people, it's like, here's the thing, though. You're supporting an independent creator that's doing a story on their own, that's self-publishing this thing. This money not only goes to pay the people that worked on the book, but most times it's used, some of the funding is used to start the next chapter of the book, right?
Yeah.
So and again, I'm in no way, shape, or form knowledgeable of the business of comics by any stretch of the imagination, but I would assume that not only printing off the books, but then when you get to that hardcover, softcover trade of something, that can't be like a small expenditure to do stuff.
No, like it's a lot. That's why I normally keep my Kickstarters at 3,000 for the goal, but that's to print different floppies, and like you said, to keep the artwork and everything moving for what you're doing for future issues. Where this one, all the money's going toward printing. I've already done the artwork, so now this is all going to go into printing and shipping, because that's the thing too, is as the years have gone on, shipping just keeps going up. So my price for a single issue is 16, but that includes the shipping.
Right.
So for me, it's going to be about $6 to ship, plus I mail them in the comic mailers. I put them in a bag and board. So I try to keep the cost at a reasonable price, because yeah, you're right. Some of the people you see, it's a single issue, and I've seen them as high as $20 after shipping. And I understand where they're coming from. Don't get me wrong, but I do my best to try to keep it at a reasonable rate where it's okay. It's essentially $10 for the book. And yes, that's more than Marvel, that's more than DC, but I'm not printing 100,000 copies of anything.
Right. Right. And Joey, you're absolutely right. You can't expect the traditional mainstream stuff. Like, again, that's why, like, being friends with creators, knowing that part of it is just kind of like, well, I'm like, look, folks, I understand that this is not the book you're going to see on whatever price guide they use for, how much a book is worth. This is not going to be like Absolute Batman, kind of things like that.
Yeah.
For me, you get these books because they're good. They're good, and I tell people all the time, look, I have, I guess a little bit of a humble brag, not trying to. I have a lot of friends that work in the independent, Ed included, independent comic scene, and if there was something they did that I didn't like, I would let you know, this one's not for me.
Yeah.
But more oftentimes than not, y'all stuff hits the mark for me. Like Immortal Era, I still was kicking myself in the pants when I finally read it, and I was like, man, I could have read this like a month or two ago. I have it out there. I'm gonna grab it in just a second, but I got my trade in. I've read that thing 3 or 4 times now, but like I said, I'm not gonna be able to jump on this one this time. I'll tell you that right out. But trust that your next campaign, I'm definitely gonna make sure that I see this time. I did see this one. There's a couple issues though. Like I said, for some reason, Kickstarter is very wonky sometimes, and Facebook feels like it likes to suppress crowdfunding books.
Oh, you're not wrong. They love doing that, and I think I've had people. They come up to me, same thing like you're saying. They come up to me at a con or something, and they see 2 new issues on the table, and they're like, "What the heck? When did these even come out?" And and that's to say, I'm messaging backers, I'm sending new updates, and it's still like they love to shoot it to your spam folder. Facebook just loves to pretend you don't exist. Yeah. So it's a tricky thing in getting ears out there. I mean, even if you're not backing, you're talking about it, and that's something powerful. But yeah, this one, of course, I think you probably stopped at about issue 7. So I would say at this point in all of my writing, issue 9 is still my favorite issue. And that one is all Father's backstory. So we get a lot of it's a 32-page issue. It's completely the backstory of Father. And it introduces a lot of rules and lore for this world. We find out that there is a way possible for people to die. But the way to do it's tricky, but we also discover that, yeah, you can die this way, but your soul's going to be trapped on Earth. So lots of different revelations have come along the way, and I'm spoiling it for people who haven't read, but that's okay. It makes you want to see what happens here. But yeah, there's big revelations. Issue 12 has huge repercussions on this universe, and it's no longer going to be safe for the people who thought that they were safe. So the world's kind of divided into these 2 different realms of underground and the surface level, where people are legal citizens, basically. And these legal citizens who live in their happy little bubble, and you see them kind of walking around with their heads in these tablets. It's not quite unlike what we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
But in this world where they're just walking aimlessly through these crowded cities, staring at their tablets, everything's about to change. So issue 12, I've said it all along, it's where I blow up the world. I blow up the world of Immortal Era so that for the next 12 issues, it's just going to be complete chaos breaking loose.
Nice. So since I butchered most of the team's names, I try so hard. And I've even asked about Caesar's name, Cesar?
Yes. Cesar Oliveira.
Okay.
So he's the artist. And then the colorist is Maya Opasic. And then we have Chuck Pinot. He does the editing. And then for letters, we have Dan Schmidt. And then I have an assistant editor, Tony Pipton. And he makes sure that there's just not a single comma out of place or anything like that. So before Chuck even sees the issue, Tony does his run through on it. And that's why Chuck says it's pretty easy to edit your stuff because you're not making a lot of mistakes. But that's because I don't send him a messy draft. I want him to focus on, okay, story, page turns, things like that, make sure that it's a clean and pure read, but not, there's this misplaced comma and that misplaced dash. And, he can read it just for the sake of the story without having to Hawkeye all the different punctuation aspects of everything.
Right, man. We love Chuck. Most of us here know Chuck. Miss him in Texas, but he's one of my favorite Canadians. Chuck is such a good dude.
He's awesome. He actually just finished up with the issue 13 edits, and of course I got to go in, make a few changes, but There's not many, but it's always good when you get your editor to just be like, holy shit, that ending, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
And that's what he said that on issue 12, and so did my assistant editor. They both were just like the same exact message I got from them. Holy shit, that ending. So it's like, all right, if both your editors got shocked by it, then I can't wait for readers to actually get it in their hands.
Of course. And Lorena just backed the digital catch up.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's awesome.
So,
hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
Jay, to help you out, brother, I'm gonna back volume 2 for you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah. I love the story too, so we're just gonna go ahead and grab it so we can be caught up.
I appreciate that. And that we're working on putting everything together, and then my printer went out of business. So that no. I don't know if you heard about, it was Comics Wellspring was who I was going to print through. I've done most of my printing through them. And then I think it was Thursday, they just announced out of the blue that they're ceasing all production. So lots of creators are in the same boat I am, in the mad dash to find a printer when now here I am funding a Kickstarter that needs, it needs books when it's all said and done, because my goal is always a fast turnaround.
Right.
I have Kickstarters I'm still waiting for 3 or 4 years later, and nothing's more frustrating than that, because you do want to support the indie, but you also want the thing that you're backing.
Yeah.
We're not doing it out of the goodness of our hearts. I mean, everybody has a budget that they're working with, and in the end, you want to see that product. And if things get delayed, and my backers know that I'm not a flake. I think that's the good thing is we're 12 issues in, 2 issues of another series, my standalone, everybody's got their stuff. So they know, okay, I'm not a flake. So I might have to send a thing saying, okay, September was my goal, but now that I'm having to hunt and get a new printer, where normally with Comics Wellspring, I would just take the digital proof and be fine with it. But whatever place I go with now, I need to see the physical proof to make sure it's up to the quality level that people want. Because you don't want volume 2 to look vastly superior to volume 1, or vastly inferior, I should say. You don't want to get me like, oh, wow, what happened to his quality? It went to shit. So that's why I'll insist on a physical proof, which is going to slow down the timetable. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, and as a frequent backer of Kickstarters, I don't mind waiting as long as I get communication. Like that's the most important thing to me. I don't care if your book takes 4 years to get to me.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. Let me know. That's the only thing, because I know things happen. And again, it's not like you guys have big companies behind you helping out with this stuff. This is like in-house kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, packed up in my front room, and all these boxes. I mean, behind me you have issues of Immortal Era hidden behind the banner, so it's just boxes upon boxes. It's all just it's small business, and nothing's easy about that. But you hear about the people like Jeff Smith, and he was running Bone from his garage, and it was these creators paved the path for people like me and all these indie creators now. It's like, yeah, you can do it right from your house, and maybe Netflix calls and now you're thinking, ooh, wish I had that issue 1 somewhere.
Well, I know that there's a lot of creators out there that don't like when people say this. But I wouldn't be mad at all if somebody optioned Immortal Era.
Oh, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, as a fan, wouldn't mind that at all. Now, I know that a lot of times it's not about that. No. I know that the ultimate goal for a lot of people is not, well, I want to see my stuff on the screen. A lot of folks are, I just want to get my story out to the world.
Exactly.
And I totally respect that. But I also respect people who are like, hey, man, I would like to get that boys money, that Amazon Prime boys money or something like that,
Shoot me some of that Garth Ennis cash. I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think, I think when it comes down to it, if you're getting into indie comics because you want a big payday, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Because for me, it's just a story I've had in my head since the late 90s. I mean, this story has existed with me since the earliest notes back in 1998. And I wanted more than anything to take this story all the way through and to let people read, hear, love the story that I wanted to tell. That's what you start it for. And yeah, if something happens along the way, that's great, but you shouldn't if you come in it thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get option to Netflix, I'm gonna be the next Eastman and Laird, they're one in a million. That's like saying, okay, I picked up a basketball, I'm the next Michael Jordan. That doesn't happen. It's there's a lot of skill, luck, and just right place, right time involved. But if you're just doing it to tell your story, that's what matters. And when you get, you go do a con and someone messages you like, oh my gosh, I read your book, I love it, I can't wait to see what's next. That's why you do it, to hear someone love your story as much as you love it. Because of course you better love your own story. Everyone loves their own material, because if you're not a fan of what you're doing, then you're doing it wrong as well.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just, again, it's one of those things for me where I'm just like, even if a person is not into the typical superhero comic book, I always tell them, you got to check out indie stuff, whether it's the ones that are in your comic shop, or just go strolling on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. There's a comic for everybody. There's so many different genres of comic. It's not just superhero.
Yeah.
And again, we're going to be talking about a superhero movie, but there's so many times I sit and I'm like, people keep saying that comic book movies are dying. It's like, I don't think that they're dying, but I would like to see another publisher or some indie folks be able to have their vision on the screen if they want it. There are some, like I said, there's some indie comic folks that are like, I don't care. I don't want my stuff, in any other media other than comics. And again, respect that. I really do.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we could get, like, for example, Comics Tribe, I tell Tyler James, the guy over at Comics Tribe, I'm like, if Netflix ever picked up any of your stuff, that could definitely replace all like the DC stuff that at the time they had lost,
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to see, there's a book they have called Scam.
Mm-hmm.
Scam is, what if you had superpowers in Vegas? It's like Ocean's 11 meets X-Men.
Mm.
Fantastic story. They have another one called The Red 10.
Yeah.
Red 10 is like an Agatha Christie superhero murder mystery. It's fantastic. Would make an awesome series. I just think that maybe that there are some folks that tire from the superhero genre of movies, and that's not to say that superhero fatigue, because I'm telling you, Spider-Man, I think, is about to light the world on fire.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And so will Avengers in December. They're both going to rake in piles of money, and then we won't hear about superhero fatigue till the next movie, kind of like Supergirl, that makes moderate money, but, not recouping its massive budget. And I mean, I think a lot of it isn't just the budget, it's how much they spend on advertising. I mean, the countless millions they throw for the billboards, for the commercials, for everything else. And then you get movies like Supergirl, which I haven't seen yet. We're actually going to see it tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And well, I guess you guys have seen it. So what would you say? Is it worth my time and effort?
I think it is.
Okay.
I have a feeling you'll like it, but you'll have your critiques, kind of like ours.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having critiques as long as I walk out and I had a good time. Because I think we can't rate the superhero movies on the same scale that we put, all these Oscar bait movies. And some of them are there. I mean, you get some that can cross over both ways. You had The Dark Knight that got nominated. You had Black Panther that got nominated. But in general, they're your movies you go for fun. You drop your money and you're happy when you walk out of the theater. And you don't need to, it doesn't need to be like, okay, this is going to get this many nominations and do this many things. But I think, like you said, indie would be a good way, because look at what's happening with the indie horror renaissance right now.
Yeah.
You're getting these dirt cheap movies that are well acted, well produced, with little bits of money, and they're just cleaning house. It's like Blair Witch all over again.
Yeah.
And if they could take that with the indie comics and say, okay, we're gonna adapt some of these lesser known indie comics, because people knew these creators from YouTube, but they weren't these big household names, and yet they still just cleaned up. And that's the kind of thing that indie comics would need to do. You don't want to think, I'm going to adapt my indie comic and I want $150 million budget. people aren't going to pay that on an unknown commodity. But maybe because of what we've seen with horror movies lately, there's a chance that we can see indie comics on a cheaper, low scale budget. Give them a chance on the big screen, on the small screen, on these different streamers, knowing that we're just going to kind of throw a little bit of money, a lot into advertising, and try to pump up some of these, some of these ones that have made 100,000 on Kickstarter. There's creators like when you were talking Comics Tribe, their Kickstarters always do really well. Yeah. So someone like them, they have a built-in audience. Give them a shot, but don't say, okay, now here's this, $100 million movie, because you're just begging them to fail. And then they can proclaim indie comics aren't successful and ignore them for a long time again.
Yeah, so too much clickbait.
Yeah. Low risk, high reward.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Exactly. I think it's kind of funny, though. I've not seen Backrooms or Obsession yet, mm-hmm. but I think it's kind of funny that, and I know I'm going to butcher his name, but Chiwetel Ejiofor was Baron Mordo mm-hmm. in Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Is the star of Backrooms.
Yeah.
And I want to say her name is Indy Navarrete.
Yeah, I think
who was Nikki. Yeah. She was in Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that, that two people from superhero franchises, the Marvel and DC franchises, are in two of like the biggest movies.
Yeah.
that have happened.
I would say that she's got a chance at being nominated for an Oscar because her performance, pretty much, it's a low budget movie. It's, a simple story. It's the monkey's paw, basically. Yeah. And without her performance, it's just another throwaway movie that goes to Shudder. But with her performance, it's so elevated. And if they snub her, I think there's going to be a lot of backlash because it is, whether you love or hate the movie, you can't say a word against her performance. It is spectacular. So I'm hoping she gets nominated and not thrown to the side. But I mean, last year, Sinners got a lot of love. So they are not just throwing it at the same ones. I mean, it didn't win the big categories, but it was nominated more than any other movie.
Yeah, that and Weapons was pretty huge,
mm-hmm.
if I remember correctly.
And that one won. I know, I forget her name, but I remember her from Tank Girl. She won her Best Supporting, so well-deserved for that. And that's a little movie. That's another one. It's a little horror movie, small budget, and, huge box office. So that's what I'm hoping happens with indie comics. Let some of these YouTube gurus that are just tearing the world up right now find an indie comic. Be like, because you look at all the Boys and Preacher, I think it was Seth Rogen discovered mm-hmm. those.
Yep.
We need a Seth Rogen of the YouTube community to find his or her favorite indie comic and put that thing up on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that would. I think something like that, and I like to say it this way, and I hope it comes out the way that I mean it. I think when you give a general audience a movie and they find out it's based on a comic, if they love that movie, it's going to drive them to go and find that comic. Like,
yeah.
the best thing I can say about the DCU, whether you like the movie so far or not, which I've liked both the movies so far, mm-hmm. is they were letting people know, here's some comics you can pick up if you enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that for indie stuff. I want them to be like, did you like this movie? Here's the comic that it's based off of.
Yeah.
It'll take you to the comic shop. And then they find that comic, or they go to Kickstarter, or they go to one of your sites, or mm-hmm. However you distribute your comic. And that's another thing, folks, I got to say. If you find an indie comic you really like on Kickstarter, talk to your LCS.
Mm-hmm.
If you get enough interest drummed up about it, a lot of times, if there's a retailer tier, you can get your LCS to back that retailer tier. Just make sure that you actually pick up the book, please. It's just like doing your pre-orders and stuff like that.
Yep.
Do that, because that's how I got Sync from John Lee's. John Lee's Volume 1 and 2 was in a local comic shop.
Okay.
And I love John Lee's work. Like,
oh yeah,
John has done so many great horror things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I never thought I would see. At the time, I was like, I never thought I'd see a Kickstarter book in a comic book shop. And, the comic shop that we were by, because we're not by them anymore, they were very strong supporter. Miss Jen, very strong supporter of indie comics. had her own section on the wall that was all indie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's weird to say, but some of these movies are driving people into their comic shop, and
Yeah.
I think that's just anything that builds comics up to me is always a good thing. Like as a fan,
Yeah.
again, I have no skin in the game when it comes to comics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the experience. I'm a producer on the shows back there, but I just let the pros do their work, and I just sit in the background and push the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about raising awareness, and I love the fact that the indie community isn't, from the outside perspective, isn't as cutthroat. It feels like there's a lot of people within the indie comic scene that like to help each other,
Mm-hmm.
and not just like, this guy's competing against me. We have a Kickstarter going at the same time. There's a lot of times I see that they are sharing
Mm-hmm.
the other projects, and I love that cross promotion thing.
Yeah.
Now I didn't scroll all the way down on your page. Are you cross promoting with anybody?
I am. I'm cross promoting with Lori Calcaterra on Path of the Pale Rider. She's putting out her volume 2 of Path of the Pale Rider. And if you back both at a physical level, we have a metal trading card that you'll get. And we did that last campaign, and it was really, it came out beautifully. It's double-sided metal, and it'll be both of our foil covers, but on a nice little metal card. And those ones, I put them out at the cons, and they go quick. So I've done it. I did one with Dan Schmidt with his Worms Crawl Out book. And then that's actually Worms Crawl Out, Worms Crawl In, and Worms Crawl Out. I don't know if you've read either of those, but those 2 books are what drove me to hire him as an artist for my little horror one-shot that I made.
Oh, I haven't. I've heard of them. I have not actually read them yet. And I gotta tell you, man, metal cards. I'm a huge fan of those, and part of the reason is metal covers are not cheap to make, from what I've been told.
Yeah,
They're not cheap to have
not
made.
at all.
Now, I've heard the cards aren't exactly like pennies to make.
No, they're still expensive, but nothing compared to the book at that size.
Yeah, and from a fan point, if I can't afford a metal cover,
Mm-hmm.
having a metal card, especially one that like is of a cover, metal
Yeah.
cards, I love those.
Yeah.
I love metal card. Like the fact that those haven't been at first, they weren't as popular as they kind of feel like they are now.
Mm-hmm.
It just blows my. It's kind of like the magnets that I got from you. They're all hanging on our fridge, and they're of the covers of the comic.
Yeah.
Love those. Love the magnets. Love the pins. The pins stick in the wall in our bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a lot of cool stuff that you do. Is there anything like new on the what is it called? The tiers?
Let me see. We have a water bottle.
There you go.
An Immortal Era water bottle. We still have the pins. We have 5 different ones right now. I'm trying to think of what else.
There's a cheapy sticker that I ordered.
Yeah, there's a little Ari Chibi sticker, so I do have that, and that one is super popular. That was actually done as a fan art thing. One of the fans I met at the Phoenix Comic-Con, she drew it for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. I would love to have it as a sticker. She's like, well, I just so happen to be a sticker maker. So she has her own little sticker maker at home, and she made me a big batch of them. And yeah, I have to constantly order more because people love the little art sticker. Even if they're at a con and they haven't heard of the series, they just think the sticker's cute. Or like you were saying, the pins. People just see the pins and think, oh, that's cool. I collect pins, and here's a decapitated head on a weird little device. I'll take that.
That leads to a question, Ed. Because,
Sure.
like Jay said, one of the cool things that you do is that nobody has powers, so they can't die.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that on purpose to give you something to play with at times? Like, how far can you go with they're being tortured with this certain thing and they can't die anyways?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So tune into issue 9 once you get your collected one, because in issue 9, that's where we really see how far you can go still stuck living. because there's a couple things that if you've been reading the issues, I've been mentioning them just in buildup. So we keep hearing about the chicken farm, and we keep hearing about the flat fields. And in issue 9, we finally discover both of those, and it's a complete setting change. So most of them are set either in the underground or the above city, where issue 9 is the first one that's set in almost this old western town where you get these wastelands of desert where there's plenty of people living there. They're not worried about the rules. They're not having to have their special chips to live there, but it's a brutal society. So we see what the chicken farm is. We see what the flat fields are. And it's one of those things where I hope no one guessed. That's always my best hope, is that you can think you know, and then you find out, you're like, oh, damn. And that's, I was talking because Lori, she was on my show this morning. I have a Saturday morning show I always do. And she came on my show and was like, oh yeah, the chicken farm, I did not see that one coming. And she had her place, I forget what she called it. I had predicted something and was completely wrong as well. So I'm like, yep, you stumped me as well. But we joke because we both have books where everyone's gained immortality, but she takes more of a zombie spin on it, and mine, it's more just living. It's more The Walking Living than The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Again, it's a horrifying thing to think of. With, death plays an important part, in real life, like, and just to think that this is, and I always get the number wrong. Is it 300 or 400 years in the future from when the
200 years?
200. Okay, see,
yeah.
Just to think the population growth
mm-hmm.
in that amount of time when nobody can die, because I assumed, like when I first started reading it, I was like, can these folks still have kids? And then I was like, oh, yeah, they can.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind was like, well, what are they going to do about food? And then I get to the part of the story where I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that kind of really makes sense.
Yeah, I try to have the answers that people are going to want all in my head. And there's once in a while someone will come to the table because they're trying to stump you. They're like, all right, we're going to test you and see if you've actually thought of all the different scenarios. And the only one I had no answer to is, what if they were astronauts in space? Like they're up at the International Space Station. What happened to them? Did they become immortal? I'm like, did it only affect Earth? Did it hit the International Space Station? So I don't have an answer for that one still. But that was the first time I was stumped. It's like, all right, touche, you win.
Okay.
I said, all right, here's a sticker for stumping me for the first time for a long time.
So now we're going to have to do the horror trope of Immortal Era in space.
Yes, and that's the thing. What happened, because I wrote a little short story for the Collective Initiative, which is something Travis Gibb puts together. And I wrote a 6-page short story where we see immortality the moment it starts in Japan. And in this universe, we have the Grim Reaper because it's the Western, just the Western personification of death. But in Japan, it would be a Shinigami. So we see a Shinigami when immortality begins, and it kind of shows what happened there. And I thought, I could write a story just like that, a quick little 6-pager of Immortal Era in space and what the heck happened. Since at this point, I don't know. I would assume it's just humanity, and if you're a human, you're screwed, or an animal even. But yeah, it's the first stump question I've ever had.
That is a good one. That is a good one. Speaking of Travis, did you have a story in the Cthulhu Invades?
I did. Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales. I had the second story in the volume, which is The Fisherman and His Wife.
Nice. Jenna just got her copy in yesterday or the day before.
Oh, that's the new volume. I have a story in that one as well. My story in that one is the Dunwich Horror, it's called. And it's not Dunwich Horror, the Dunwich Touch. And I merge the Dunwich Horror and I merge it with the Midas Touch. So that was my short story for that one. And then I will have one in the third volume as well, which isn't even launched yet on Kickstarter. Probably, I'm guessing, by the end of the year, because he's got to get everything fulfilled from this one. And he was waiting on overseas books to finally get through customs and everything. So that one I have, it's the The Brave Little Tailor and The Dreams of the Witch House that I combined.
Oh wow,
Nice.
wow! How is it writing an anthology with a bunch of other? And I think I saw some pretty big names
Yeah.
in the Cthulhu invade stuff. Like how is it? Like do you talk to the other creators to see what kind of story they're doing, or how does that all work?
For the Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales series, some of them he has kind of an interconnected story that you have to completely make all these different merges and connections. Where the Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales, it was more here's a list of Grimm's fairy tales, and then he kind of went outside of Grimm's fairy tales as well. And your job is just to pick your favorite fairy tales from that and send him the pitch. And you don't really talk much with the other creators until everybody's got their story assigned to them. And then we did a lot of podcasts and things like that where we would come on and talk together about our stories, and you see where the other people are coming from, which is always interesting because you don't know what Lovecraft they're grabbing, or you know what Grimm fairy tale, but what Lovecraft are they going to try to connect it to? Because my thought was in all of them, it's like Cthulhu's always kind of he's the malevolent force in this universe, but none of my stories are directly connected to Cthulhu, but anything can make Cthulhu rise. So I kind of look at it like that. But yeah, it's interesting because you don't know what other people are doing. You're kind of on your own island, just working on getting your own story done. And then when you start talking to them and seeing what inspiration they had, because I will be fully honest, I came into the first volume with no knowledge of Lovecraft. I mean, I knew of him, I knew Cthulhu and things like that, but I had no idea about any of his stories. I had never read them. So I had to do a deep dive, and I was listening to him on runs. So I ran all these runs listening to these things. And then my assistant editor just so happens to be a huge Lovecraft fan slash fanatic. And I told him, like, you just make sure that my stories follow the lore of Lovecraft enough that no one's going to come after me on a subreddit or something.
Oh, people always find a way, man. They'll always find
They can, but I said, all right, they can hate my story, but they can't say I broke any rules of lore. That was the main thing I was going for, because I said I know the Grimm fairy tales. I'm safe with that. I know what's going on. I've read all those, and the one that I picked, The Fisherman and His Wife, I had actually used that one as a short story in one of my classes that I teach, where I was teaching, okay, let's look at wishes, and we read different books about wishes going wrong. And that one I had taught. So I knew that story very well. And when I wrote it, I made sure I followed the sequence of wishes exactly as they're presented in the book.
So was this your first time, like with Travis? Was that your first time doing an anthology story?
I had done the short one for the Collective Initiative.
That's right. Okay.
That was my first one, and that one was it was just 4 short stories, but nothing connected. They were just 4 creators that he invited to come into the project. And that was my first time writing short story, which was interesting because I'm used to writing this big, long form story that's, going to be 24 issues plus some little fill-in issues. So when it's all said and done, it'll be about 30 issues, but there's going to be one-shots that come out that are not directly related. Like, even though it was numbered issue 9, it's a standalone book that's father's origin story. So that each one of the story arcs will have one of those, which will add another story arc to it. But writing short, like, you have 6 pages and you got to tell everything in those 6 pages. It was a different challenge. I mean, I liked it because you have to learn to just give the most important pieces and leave everything else out.
So I guess, since you got some of that under your belt now, is there ever going to be like an Immortal Eras anthology that you get some people to?
It is. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and now that my thought was I always wanted to finish volume 2 of Immortal Era first. So once that's done, I've already got a few creators that are interested in it, but it's just going to be Tales from the Immortal Era. And the rule is, of course, you're in a world that's immortal. Do your thing, whatever you want to do. just don't use my characters, because they have a preset arc that you can't really mess with, because you could do something that's like, no, that's out of the continuity. This was supposed to happen later. So you can play with some sub character, some small one that's been seen maybe for one panel or something. But in general, you're just going to tell a story of immortality. And one of the writers that pitched me an idea was doing it as a comedy, and it sounds great. Another one doing it as like a pure horror story. So it's something that I want to do, and I'm actually going to talk to Travis for help on that, because he's run multiple successful anthologies. So he's a name that I trust. I mean, I trust him anyway. He's done a lot of good for me and helped me out along the way. But I also know he knows how to put together an anthology, put together creators, and get the best product out there. So my goal is that once I get volume 2 complete, that I can start taking submissions around October to launch next October as a Halloween thing.
Oh,
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Sean, you got any questions for Ed?
How did you come up with the concept? Really, I'm just generally curious, like how something like this came up.
Okay, so it's actually, I was in college. I was an English lit major, which you would expect. You know, most writers are something in that kind of field. And one of the little excerpts that we read came from Gulliver's Travels, and it was, he goes to an island where everyone on the island is immortal. At first, he thinks this is paradise. This is where I want to live. And if you read Gulliver's Travels, the full book, he's just constantly trying to find something new and something better. He's just not satisfied in his life. So at first, he thinks this immortality island is perfect. But then he sees the people that are hundreds of years old. And in that particular story, like in Immortal Era, they continue aging. They get dementia. They can barely move. And then he just leaves the island. It's about 8 pages long, maybe. But I remember as I was reading that story, it just started blowing ideas up in my head. I thought, okay, what if I made a world where this curse was there, but what we're going to create a solution? Because Gulliver's Travels doesn't offer a solution. He leaves the island and that's that, and moves on to the next one. But in my mind, it started making me think, how can you fix this terrible problem of immortality? So that's when I started just scrawling the notes, the earliest notes for Immortal Era. And I just wrote, okay, immortality's bad. And then, okay, here's how it's going to be fixed. Here's what caused it. I kind of started outlining everything for it, because it was originally going to be written as a novel. That was my original intent. And it was just something that I worked with for years. I mean, my notes go back to 98. And it was just add a little bit here, add a little bit there, and it just wouldn't go away. So I thought it's time to finally either make this idea happen or just take these notes and throw them in a dumpster, because it's never gonna be anything. So I thought, you know what? I'm not letting the story die in a dumpster and in my head. So I just started adding to those notes, fleshing it out, and turning it into a comic script from its original novel form, which presents its own challenges, because my first draft of it was so wordy, there was no art left, because you're writing the kind of dialogue that would be in a novel, not in a comic book. So it just, it started from that general idea, and also taking kind of the On a Pale Horse series, which has death, dying, and that's where I kind of got that idea. But in that one, again, it's just, it kind of randomly fixes itself. And I thought, how is it going to be fixed in this? So that's where it all came from, was, okay, we know the problem. How is it fixed? And the very first notes were just the loose notes like that. And the first part that I actually wrote for the book was still the opening for the book, where we see the flashback into this, hospital where people should be dead, but they're living. So my very first pages were written all the way in 1998, and they still ended up being the opening of the comic series.
Always amazes me where everybody finds their inspirations from.
It's crazy when you ask people. And then one person came up to my table at a Comic-Con and said, sounds kind of like this Gulliver's Travel story I know. I'm like, yes, someone finally knows it. English lit major yourself. He's like, yep. It's like, giant phone book size anthologies that you have to read that have these little things like that are 8 to 10 page excerpts, and if it's a story like Gulliver's Travels, just one of his little island adventures.
Nice.
So when you do things in the back of what do they call them? They're like special editions, extended editions, or like the back matter in the back of a trade.
Yeah.
How hard is it to figure out what you're going to do with what you're going to do back there?
I kind of looked to other creators that are, similar, that are releasing deluxe hardcovers, and looked at what they have in there. And one thing you see in all of them is a good cover gallery. You see a script to final section. So I have that. So the hardcover will have a script to final section where we'll see from the original just kind of sketches that he did all the way through pencils, inks, color, and letter. So I do a section like that. And then I also like to throw in a little bonus story. So in volume 1, you got a little 4-page story that kind of connects volume 1 and volume 2. And this one, I'll be reprinting the story from the collective, the manga story that I wrote, so that people can see that one, because that does end up having a character who becomes huge in the second story arc, or actually to say the third story arc. So that's the kind of things I do. It's okay, you're going to get hardcover and softcover will both get the collective story, but only the hardcover is going to get the full cover gallery and everything like that. Because that, if people are buying the hardcover, they like something more deluxe. So you want to give them almost like, even though it's dying, DVDs and Blu-rays, you can buy the regular edition or you could buy the special edition. So same kind of thing. Like, here's your regular edition, the soft cover. Here's your special edition, the hardcover.
Well, like I said, your world of Immortal Era is filled with all different kinds of bad guys, cannibals, stuff like that. But your main baddies, what do you think? What is their motivation? What is their drive to be the way that they are?
So the witches are the main bads of the thing. I mean, there's another group, the ones from the wasteland, and that there we kind of get the motivation of why the particular character from that area hates Father so much. So we see kind of how Father is the villain of his story. And that's what kind of all happens in issue 9. But for the witches, when I say no one has any powers, it's not entirely true. The witches have found a way to freeze aging. They've found a way to gain power by using some of the well, I don't want to spoil too much, but they found a way to give themselves huge amounts of power by causing death to disappear. So their motivation was knowing that it would power them up in a huge way. And then for the other one, the other bad that's like the big bad is kind of Tristessa, the witch, the leader of the coven. And she's terrible to her own people. She's terrible to the main characters of the story as well. And her motivation is purely power and immortality, knowing that she can have a perfect kind of frozen in her perfect age, and every year getting a little bit more power sent her way because of surviving this long. And then the other one, like I said, if you read issue 9, you'll see why he is on this vendetta against Father and anything Father's a part of.
That makes sense. So, let's see. I know I had like a million questions before.
That's how it goes. Then you forget them. You're like, as soon as I log off, you'll be like, damn it, I knew this one or that one.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
I just did for my one of my shows, I interviewed a singer, and I had all these questions written down. And then as we finished, I was like, oh, I should have asked her about that, or I should have asked her about this. And it's like, now it's too late. I had her there, and it's like she wasn't trying to rush off, but then you think, all right, I'm good. And then as soon as you finish, like, oh, there's a flood of 5 more questions you wish you would have asked and didn't. But you know where to find me if you have a question.
Yeah,
I'm not that hard to get.
Absolutely. That's another thing, folks, that I can say. I've met Jim Lee. Jim Lee's a fantastic guy. Very nice dude. Very nice dude. but I'm pretty sure I could reach out to Ed. I could reach out to Garrett Gunn. I could reach out to Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure I'd get an answer from one of them way before I ever got an answer from Jim
Oh
Lee.
yeah,
So,
I'd say so.
so
I mean, indie comic creators are very accessible. If you go, because you're talking about Kickstarters, another way is go to a local con, walk through the small press / artist alley area, and go like you're shopping for a new car. You're shopping for a new series to love, and my series may not be the one that's there for you, but someone else is going to have one, because you're going to find everything from vampires to werewolves to romance to noir. Everything's going to be there, and you're going to read it from a great uncompromising vision of an indie creator. So go out, walk through small press. Don't just go to the cons and flood over to Funko or any of these places selling high-end exclusives. Go to small press and hunt down your new favorite book.
Yep, 100%. That's perfect. That is perfect. The only thing I could add to that is, if you are on Kickstarter and you see a project, even if you can't back, even if you can't, share it out.
Please.
Let people know about it, because you never know. There could be somebody in your friend list that has never talked to you about comics before.
Mm-hmm.
But barring Facebook lets them see it, of course.
Yeah.
They might see that, and that might be the comic for them. That might be the comic that gets them into comics.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. I said it before, there's so many genres of comics out there that no matter what you love, there's probably a comic out there for you. It's just, sometimes finding it is hard,
The other thing I'll add to that too, if you're at a con and the creator is there, like if you were here and somebody's walking around the table, talk to them about the book. If you've read it, you never realize how much that can actually help.
It's so powerful. You're so right. I've had that happen to me on multiple occasions, where I'm just doing my pitch and I have my whole I would say gimmick, but my thing I try to stop people with is, give me 1 minute, I'll pitch every book on the table. So that's kind of the thing, is like, oh, well, would you like to hear about my book? Oh, I don't have time. I said 1 minute and I'll pitch everything on the table. So you start going through your pitch and someone interrupts your pitch to walk up and go, oh, I read that book, it's amazing. Now you don't even need to really finish your pitch half the time when that happens. They go, all right, well, if he says it's good or she says it's good, I'm gonna trust them, and they'll buy it. So if you love it, let them know. Let the person who's standing in front of the table know. The creators will not be offended that you're interrupting their pitch to tell someone that you love the book, because it's happened to me and I've done it to other people. There's like San Diego Comic-Con, for example. I'm going as just an attendee. I'm going to go for fun. I'm speaking on a panel one of the times, but otherwise I'm just going to go for the fun. And I spend a lot of time in small press, because that's where I know a lot of the people. Like, I'm going to go and know 80% of the people that are in there, and it's kind of just saying hi to friends. But also, if I see someone at their table, I will definitely do that walk up, like, oh my gosh, this book is amazing, you got to check it out, because it's a powerful tool. Word of mouth, thinking, oh, if they say it's good, it must be good, and I don't want to miss out. Like, use their FOMO against them.
Yeah. I try not to be a booth barnacle with our friends when we go to see them at cons, but there's sometimes, if I see people coming up, I'm like, look, Dan Price, Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Yeah.
We see him. I think Jenna was actually selling some of his books for him.
Oh, nice.
But
yeah, I've had that. You get that where there's one guy I remember had a booth at San Diego Comic-Con, and he liked my pitch so much he was telling people down the row. So next thing you know, I get people coming up. That guy said your book's good. Tell me about it. He said you'll do the pitch better. But yeah, I mean, it's such a powerful thing, and when you can help other creators out by giving them that little bit of word of mouth, it's so powerful, because even at a con, I mean, you're just battling to get people to stop, especially one like San Diego. There's a million other things to catch their interest, and to get them to stop in small press. Once you get that, that's the challenge. And if someone's coming up singing your praises, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. It's when I get passionate about things, I will talk people's ears off.
Hmm.
Like this was not planned, folks. I just happened to I finally saw Ed shared hit the campaign on Facebook. I got to see it. So I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? When we do the show tonight, I'm gonna copy that link, make sure I talk to people about it. That was the first or second thing I talked about in the show.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, if y'all haven't read this, y'all need to check this out. Here's the link. Told them it's number 12 in volume 2, all that stuff. And the next thing I know, like 15, 20 minutes into the show, that's when you messaged me and I was like,
Funny.
that's that's better than coincidence right there.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and I still appreciate you letting me come in and crash because I know
Oh, sure.
you guys had we're gonna talk Supergirl, and I came in and derailed you. But if you know if you're anything like my show, the derailment's always the best moment of the show.
Yeah, tangents on this show are not uncommon.
Oh yeah, I think the last time I came on, Jenna came in and was talking about a birthday party, and yeah, we went on a whole different discussion because I've been to my fair share of children's birthday parties with 2 kids. So yeah, it's funny. I watched that. I was part of that. I'm like, all right, this is my kind of show. You take the tangent and you just roll with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We got producing is basically what I do for work.
Hmm.
And even here, I love doing it so much that I'm like, well, here I don't have to follow how the show rolls because it's our show.
Yeah,
So I'm like, man, if anybody wants to talk about something, just go ahead. We'll eventually get to what we're talking about, and if we don't get to it this time, we'll do it next week. Like, there's no like strict format. Hey, Roberto, good to see you, boss. There's no strict format with this. Um,
yeah,
I just I want to make sure that anytime you want to come on, man, you have that link. It's the same link every time. There, anytime. If you just want to pop in, I tell that to everybody. If you got the link to this show, that's free reign for you, no matter what we're talking about. Or if you hear something we're talking about, you want to chime in, please, by all means, feel free. Feel free to just pop in. That's what I want the show to be. Fans, people in the comic industry,
Mhm.
all that. If you got a link to this show, that means I trust you. By all means, come on whenever you feel like.
I
Invitation is open.
So I'll be seeing Supergirl tomorrow, and then I can come and tell you my thoughts.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm not I mean people we're so predisposed to hate it, and I'm not one of them. I want to love everything I go to see, especially if I'm dropping my money to see it in a movie theater. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping I love it. I mean, I don't expect it to be a perfect movie, but entertain me. I know the story it's based on. I love that story, so I'm looking forward to that part of it. And I know I'm sure they change things because Lobo has nothing to do with that story, but
It's funny you should say that. We were talking about that because one of the books that I was telling people that they should check out, Woman of Tomorrow.
mhm,
And I know a lot of people's complaint, like, or some people's complaint, I don't want to say a lot of people, was like, well, why are they forcing Lobo into this?
yeah.
Well, I found out, and I made sure to fact check this, so this is true. The original pitch that Tom King had Lobo in it,
Oh, okay.
and they had Tom take Lobo out because they were supposed to use Lobo for something else.
Okay.
So when I found that out, I was like, that's why. Because now it's kind of like, I, have you watched any of the Invincible
Yeah.
cartoon? Okay, so that what I've heard from Robert Kirkman, this I haven't verified, but it sounds like something he would say.
Mhm.
He said that the show is kind of like his second draft. It was like
Okay.
there's things he wanted to do in the book that he didn't at the time. The
Mhm.
show gives him that outlet
Yeah.
to be like, well, I wanted to do this thing with Conquest or
Mhm.
whatever. So I was like, well,
That makes sense.
yeah, that's a really cool thing to think of. So in this sense, obviously it wasn't Tom King wrote the book, but it was Anna Nagara who wrote the script for, or the
Mm.
screen. I can't remember what they're called.
Screenplay.
Screenplay. There you go. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I mean, she took some liberties. There is a couple of things that you might scratch your head at.
Mhm.
But again, for me personally, watched the movie twice. I was entertained both times. For me, this is my non-spoiler part of this.
Mhm.
For me, it was on par with Superman,
Okay.
and I think that I could watch those movies kind of back to back,
Mm.
like a little double feature if I wanted to.
Uh-huh.
And it feels very short.
Mm.
Like there are scenes that feel a little long, but overall the movie to me felt short.
Mm.
And I think that's because it was. I think it was like an hour and 45
Okay, so
minutes.
that is shorter for one of the movies. Normally they're clocking in at 2 at least.
And here's a little free advice that I will give you, and it's not spoilery. When those credits start, unless you are, and I love when people do this too. If you're a person that watches the credits
Mhm.
just to see the people involved,
Yeah.
by all means do that. But if you're waiting for an end credit scene or something, there's not one.
Okay.
So
That's good to know because usually that's when I pull out my phone and look up post-credit scene because I just saw the new Evil Dead movie.
oh, did
And
you?
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and this is the first one that connects to a previous one, where this one connects to Evil Dead Rise in a couple different ways.
Hmm.
So I think what they're building toward is a sequel that will bring those two movies together. So it was good. And if you see that one, there's actually two post-credit scenes and they're both like full proper scenes, not just like, okay, it's a 30-second gag reel kind of thing. It's like, no, this is two full scenes that actually build toward what's going to be, I'm sure, the next movie. I think they said it's already planned for next year release. So I think it's most likely already filmed then. But yeah, that one's got two post-credit scenes and just, oh my gosh, buckets of gore. But if you go to an Evil Dead movie and it's not filled with buckets of gore, you know something went wrong.
That is very true. And I got to tell you, the rebooted Evil Dead
Mhm.
that they did, I liked it. I thought it
Yeah.
was pretty good. Evil Dead Rise, though, I thought was like really damn good. I
It
really
was.
enjoyed Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
Uh, we're eventually going to see Evil Dead Burns. You know, we've heard about a part in it,
Mhm.
and Jenna's like, I don't know if I want to see that in the theater. I was like, well, okay. And I
Yeah.
won't spoil it for anybody, but there's a part in it she's like, I don't know if I'm
Too
wanting to see
brutal.
that in the theater. Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like,
My
and I
wife was squeamish the whole time. I saw her kind of cringing next to me.
goodness.
And I thought, man, I thought my book was brutal, and they took it to two other notches because, yeah, my floaters book is the one that makes people squeamish because it has eyeball things, and
Oh yeah.
yes,
Oh,
I start pitching that one, and they're like, "Ooh, no, 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 I don't want to hear about it."
I mean, Evil Dead just feels one of those franchises. It's got to have a record for blood.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it's absurd, and then you think they always top themselves, where you think, "Ooh, nothing's going to be more brutal than that," and then they just find a way. They're like, "All right, hold on a second. Here, now we've taken it up a notch, and it's only 5 minutes later." So, yeah, they're crazy, and that's why I love them. That's why anytime a new Evil Dead movie comes out, until they do one that's just pure garbage, and I think the first reboot, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was definitely a weaker entry into everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rise was solid. So they got it on the right track again.
And I think I need to go back and watch the rest of it. But we watched the first season of Ash versus Evil Dead,
Mm,
the series. My goodness, talk about that. That show was nuts. If
it was so over the top.
oh my goodness,
They were outdoing themselves left and right as well.
yeah, there's a part in a diner with the ceiling fan
Hmm.
that when it happened, I looked at Jenna. I was like, "What the hell?"
There's a lot of those moments
Yeah,
in that series, but I think that's what makes it good because that one, the two newest ones aren't trying to kind of juggle the comedy and the horror, where ever since Evil Dead 2, it's kind of a balance of the comedy and the horror. And that the TV series just does a perfect juggling act of keeping it like you're laughing out loud while cringing at the same time.
yeah, yeah. It. I know people. There are some folks that they're like Army of Darkness is where it all went wrong.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, I love Army of
Yeah,
Darkness.
it's so
I
fun.
love that one. Like, just Bruce Campbell to me, I've always been a fan. There was Briscoe County Jr., which I think
Mhm.
that was a show that was way before, like, it's too ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And then there was Jack of Jack of All Trades. I think was another show that he
Yeah.
did.
Was he in Burn Notice?
Yes, he was. He was in Burn Notice.
Okay, I
That
thought
was
so.
another great role he had.
Mhm.
Of course, he was in Xena and Hercules and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, they just I love. You've never Lorena. You
Wow. You
Well, you
gotta
gotta
check
remember
it out.
that's
Yeah. If nothing
me
else,
Oh
too.
wow.
you need to check out. There's an Evil Dead book by Rodney Barnes that's fantastic.
Oh god, anything Barney.
There's one by Tony Fleece that's really really good, and then Archie versus Army of Darkness has been
Mm.
fantastic.
I haven't read that one. I haven't read a lot of the book adaptations. I've seen all the movies, and I think I read the Army of Darkness comic series when it came out, but it was more just kind of a standard adaptation of it. But I haven't read any of the expanded lore, so I got reading to catch up on.
Yeah, I think all three of those are dynamite. I think the Rodney Barnes one is like Ash versus Evil Dead or Army of Darkness, and it has like 76 or 77 attached to it.
Hmm.
Like it's got one of those years on it.
Okay.
Um, the Tony Fleece one was very, very good. Like, but Tony Fleece to me, I mean, Stray Dogs, Uncanny Valley, pretty much his Deathstroke run right now, fantastic. Pretty much anything the man does, it's kind of like Kyle Starks with me too. Like, I
Yeah.
love Kyle Starks' work.
Hmm.
But Lorena, I would tell you, the first Evil Dead. While I know that they were kind of going for a more traditional horror, there's some parts in the
Yeah.
first Evil Dead movie that just they crack me up.
Yeah. It's not. I don't think that's intentionally funny. Where the second one, they're just going for straight comedy.
Yeah,
They're going for this balance between Three Stooges level slapstick and then just buckets of blood violence. So that one's a lot of fun.
yeah. And then when you get to Army of Darkness, that's where they kind of
Then it gets super zany.
yeah,
Then it goes Looney Tunes style
it,
violence.
it does, and it's so great. It's so
I
great.
love all of them. I mean, even the weakest entry I would say would be the first Evil Dead reboot, and I can find things to like about that.
Yeah,
But I think Army of Darkness, like I said, some people don't like that one. I think it works. I think my only complaint is that they PG-13'd it. I think that was kind of like, all right, after buckets and buckets of blood, you go for a tamer trying to make it more mainstream, and that wasn't what that was all about. So I think they should have gone full gore, all in. But I know it was through Universal. It wasn't, that the others were more indie films, and this was Universal probably saying like, hey, we can reach more people if we PG-13 it. And we've seen how that goes when you PG-13 R-rated movies. It's never a good sign.
no. Now, with one exception I have to that one though, is I thought not Prey,
Oh, the Predator Badlands?
Badlands. I thought Badlands was excellent.
I think that worked because there were no humans involved.
Yeah, and
So
that's
you
that's
still had lots of blood and gore, but it was sci-fi blood and gore, which slaps you a PG-13 instead of like scalping humans and pulling out their spines. That
yeah.
throws you into the R category. And then, it didn't have profanity, but it was generally an android and a predator speaking to each other. So it's different. I think they danced the fine line on that and managed to make a decent PG-13 from an R franchise.
The comic series of friend. Writing a new module for my comic software. Nice. Roberto sounds awesome. Does the guy who plays Kylo Ren play in an Evil Dead?
I don't know, maybe he was in Ash versus the Evil Dead, but I don't know. I don't remember the cast of the first reboot very well. He could absolutely be in it, but I do not know.
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that one.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the theaters when it came out and not since. So it's not one that I've revisited.
I do have one that's a little weird where I thought the PG-13 version was better than the R-rated one, and that's the Alien versus Predator,
Okay.
the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got AVPR where they went back to that R rating, but the movie's so dark you couldn't
Yeah,
tell.
it's unwatchable. It's like they filmed it with no lighting at all. It's like, here, let's go into the middle of a forest with no lights and just film.
Yep, and
Yeah,
there's
it's
the
so
parts that I
bad.
could see I liked,
Yeah.
but I ended up one time just putting it on the TV and turning up the brightness as far as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that a character death that happens in there happened the way it did. I thought she was just pinned to the wall. I didn't realize she was cut in half because I couldn't see it.
Huh.
So that was the first time I saw it, and this was a couple
Wow.
years ago, where I was like, "Oh, okay, so there was more to that scene than what I saw."
Crazy. Yeah, that was so poorly lit. It's insane because it's not like it was some little indie film. This is a major studio film and looked like pure garbage.
Yeah, lighting helps, folks.
Yeah, please let us see the things that are happening because they would have been good. There's probably some great scenes that no one could actually look at. I guess I should try your trick and play it with the brightness all the way up.
Yeah, there are things that I was like, I don't even remember that happening the first time I watched this.
Wow. I don't think I ever tried it a second time because I got so frustrated. And I thought it was like when you used to buy those DVDs and some of them had really bad transfers. I thought maybe it was that. Like, okay, maybe it's just a bad DVD. And then I watched like a 4K print of it and still looked like crap. So I gave up.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous because the bright is very bright,
Mm-hmm.
but it reminded me a little while back one of the Game of Thrones episodes. Like
Oh,
I'm
the
not
dragon, the Nightwalker one.
like I'm not like a Game of Thrones fanatic. I liked watching the show. I thought some episodes were really really good. A lot of the battles were really good, but that one, it's like, guys, I understand that the world this thing is set in, they wouldn't have actual lighting,
Yeah.
but I can suspend my disbelief enough if I can see what's going on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Dead Don't Die. That's a weird movie, but it's weird in a good way. It's Bill
Yeah, I
Murray.
enjoyed that one.
Oh my goodness, the meta stuff that happens in there. Like Jenna and I watched it, I was like, this isn't going to win any awards, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, and that's all you look for sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a movie that her and I love. It's called Freaks of Nature.
I haven't seen that one.
Movie made $70,000.
Okay.
Like it's not a great film by any means, but her and I, especially our kind of humor, we laughed the entire time watching it. And that I always go back to my words that I have about movies. I'm like, just because something makes $1 billion doesn't mean it's the greatest movie you've ever seen.
True.
It shouldn't be like $1 billion as a benchmark for, well, that's how you know it's great. Because trust me, there's plenty of $1 billion movies out there that I've tried to watch, and I'm like, nope,
they're not good.
I'll stick to my one that made under $100,000 any day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes those are the best ones.
So, folks, again, if you're just joining, we're here with writer Ed Davis talking about, well, a bunch of things, but we're also talking about his Kickstarter he's got going on right now. Got 22 days left. It is for Immortal Era number 12 and volume 2. So please, folks, go and check it out. Again, even if it doesn't look like your jam, share this one out because not only do I want Ed and team to get their book out, selfishly enough, I want the book too. So I only get it if the project gets funded. Again, 22 days left. I know I've heard from a lot of people though with Kickstarter, it's a weird thing where like the first 2 weeks are really good, and then you have like kind of that doldrums,
Oh yeah.
and then like the last week or two kind of picks back up,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I have like no thoughts at all that this thing was not going to fund. Like I got all the faith in the world in this. Anybody checking it out for the first time, I'm telling you, it's a solid book. If you end up getting it and you read it, please let us know what you thought. I love hearing people's opinions, whether they're good or bad. You don't have to tell me this was the worst thing you've ever read. You don't have to tell me anything like that. But if it wasn't for you, let me know. But if you dug it, let me know, and we can let Ed know, because
Unless you think it's the worst thing you ever read, then you can keep that opinion.
Yeah,
you don't need to relay that one to me.
Yeah, we don't have to tell Ed that part.
No death threats on my family, please.
Yeah, please.
I'm just trying to write a fun story.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you truly hate it, then I will apologize in advance. But I don't think anyone who's read it has truly hated it. So I can cross my fingers that that's true. But if they did, they never said anything, and I'm all right with that too.
Ed, I think more people like to love your story more than they dislike to hate your story.
I think you're right. I've had good interactions. People who read it seem to enjoy it, and those who hate it, like I said, they haven't made their opinion known. Besides, like one or two, I've had one or two people with less than kind things to say. But in the end, not everything is for everyone, and you just hope that you reach the right audience.
I mean, it's won awards for a reason. So, but I'm just putting that out there for anybody. It's won several awards.
Just throwing it out there, folks. I mean, you don't get this far on a Kickstarter book unless it's somewhat decent.
Yes.
I'm just saying, and trust me when I say, for me, it's definitely more than decent. It's a fantastic story in a genre that you would think would be mogged down by everything's dystopian. It just clicks with me. Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
Well, I appreciate that. You guys have been singing the praises of the book and sharing it out. Even when you miss a campaign, you're always there, letting people know they exist. If you know they exist,
yeah.
Thanks to Kickstarter /Facebook. But yeah, when you hit that share button, and like we've said a million times, a share is a powerful tool, because one of your friends might think that's the exact book they need, and if your friend then reads it and shares it, it's just kind of keep it moving down the line.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. We're talking about comics and stuff. Is there anything currently that you're reading, or any book you can think of that you're like, I don't think enough people know about this book, they should try to read this?
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't want to say like the absolute Batman, things like that, because everyone's reading that, and that's why it's blown up. But I do enjoy it. I'm having a good time reading that one. The one that I'm doing a cross promotion with, Path of the Pale Rider, is a really good book. Kind of, if you enjoy my book, you're going to enjoy her book. It's kind of a Wild West take on immortality. So it's different, but she loves to throw weird surprises at you along the way as well. So that's a really good one that you can be reading. I'm trying to think. I got to look. I just read the Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress. That's by oh gosh, what is their I'm trying to think of their comics. That's Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon. I know their names, but their publication company, if you look up Tatsumi, you'll find it. And that's a really good series. I had a great time. There are 2 issues in. That was a really fun read. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I know there's plenty of Kickstarter books. Oh, The Fog Within is a great series. I'm enjoying that one. So yeah, there's the Path of the Pale Rider. With that one, if you buy mine and you buy hers in physical tiers, you'll get the metal card, and it's a lot of fun. Tatsumi just ended. They had a really successful campaign, so well worth checking out. So yeah, it's like you again. As soon as I log off, I'll be like, this one and that one, and dang it. I guess I'll just jump in on the comments when I'm over cooking dinner. I'll be like, just comment like this book, that book, this book, because there's a lot of great ones that I'm not remembering right now. But the Tatsumi was the one I've read most recently. The Fog Within, he just put out a trade paperback of his first story arc, and that one's a great one as well. But there's plenty of really good stuff out there, so check it out. And the new Cthulhu, that should be a fun read. I haven't actually read it all myself yet, so I'm looking forward to getting my copies in and digging in for the first time. That way, if someone comes to my table, I can know all the stories that are in there and kind of tell them, oh, my favorites were this one, and this one, and get people excited about that as well.
So one more time for us, please, if you would, sir, for anybody just joining or just because it's near, we're gonna let you go so you can go overcook that dinner.
Yes.
Give us that elevator pitch for Immortal Era one more time.
All right. So Immortal Era is a post-apocalyptic story set 200 years in the future in a world where everyone has gained immortality. But with this immortality, they didn't get any kind of powers or abilities, so they still age in this world. They still get sick in this world. As we talked about earlier, if you lose a limb, nothing's magically going to grow back. They don't have Deadpool immortality. That's why one of the characters in the story is just a decapitated head, and he serves as one of the leaders of an underground group who are out searching for relics to find a way to bring death back into the world, because they know that restoring the natural life cycle and saving humanity by killing them is the only way to put the world back in its proper place.
And then also, where can anybody find you? And then are there any spots where anybody can buy previous issues in between Kickstarters?
Yes. So I do have a web store. It's at finishlinecomics.com. And there I have that has all the floppies available that are still in print. I'm sold out of, I think, right now, the only one I'm sold out of is issue 5. I have 3 of them left, and they're sitting on the Kickstarter right now. And then I have all the individual issues there. You can also get Corruptor, my second series, and Floaters, my horror one-shot. And that one I tell people, if you don't want to have to invest in a whole ongoing long series, it's a 28-page story, and everything you need is in there. But enough people have pestered me. There will be an issue 2, but both books are going to be standalone stories. I'm not going to write them with any kind of to be continued. When a story ends, it ends, but it's kind of like if you've watched any of the Smile movies, it's just a curse that moves from person to person, and the Floater's curse is a curse that moves from person to person. So when I do write issue 2, don't think, oh, we're going to find out what happened to whoever. You won't. That story's done. It'll focus on another person who gets the curse, and that's also available on my web store. I think I just added that one to the web store because when I don't add them in there until I fulfill the Kickstarter. So if you go to Finish Line Comics, you can find it there. And then all my social media is under Finish Line Comics as well. So if you search on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter or X, you can find all those under Finish Line Comics.
Awesome. So one more thing before we let you go, because the show that you do,
yes,
that I always oversleep, but I try to rewatch it. That you only stream that on Facebook?
That's on Facebook, and that's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Let me see. I'll send you the link to my YouTube real quick.
Yeah. I'll make sure, because it's not just comics. You guys talk about music and
we do. I do shows on that. And that one, if you ever feel like if you want to cover an album with us, we pick new albums each week. And the one that we just did, we just had a singer from Nashville named Maisie Owen, and she came in and did an interview with us. So we're trying to get more band interviews and things like that, but it's, oh my gosh, when bands are touring, it's just it's a pain trying to line up schedules. So right now that when I'm on summer break, it's a lot easier. But that one, I do 2 shows. I do the Wednesday show, which is only about music. So that one I tell comic creators, like, you can come on, and at the very end, you can talk about your book, but you got to come in and talk about an album with me.
Yeah.
And the creators that come on have a good time because they're like, yeah, I would have never played this band on my own, and I had a great time checking this this band out because my passion is not just indie comics, it's indie music, and I love discovering new artists that no one's ever heard of that aren't signed to these big major labels. So discovering these bands, I love to share them out, and my co-host is having a good time because he's discovering a lot of music he would have never listened to because he's never heard of it, and that's what we try to showcase. But we're also, over the next couple months, we're going to be hitting some of the big releases. We're going to be covering Madonna. We're going to be covering, I forget what else. Oh, the Alabama Shakes new album. So we will cover major artists as well. But my love and my passion is covering these really small bands that maybe have 1,000 or 2,000 monthly listeners and trying to get people to know about them.
That sounds very familiar, except it's us with comics.
It's my comic version, but with music, because I'm equally passionate about indie music and have been passionate about it for since I was in late high school and college. Just finding these unknown bands and kind of letting people know, like, these are bands you need to be listening to. So we cover the albums, we let people know about the history of these bands, and just hopefully get more ears listening to bands that you normally would ignore.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You know what? I can say this, folks. In a world where it feels like humanity doesn't agree on a lot of things, I don't think I have ever met anybody that has looked me in the eye and said, I don't like music. And not just genres or anything, just music in general. I think that's one thing folks can agree on. Even if it's like Malaysian throat singing or something like that, everybody loves music. So
something moves you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ed, man, I appreciate you hopping on. This was a lot of fun. Always great. Yeah, always great to have you on, man. Like I said, you have that link. Anytime you want to pop on Saturdays, by all means, man, just come on and go ahead.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much again. I appreciate you letting me come and crash your show and interrupt the flow, but take us on some fun tangents.
Oh yeah, a lot of fun, man. Love to you and your family, boss. Take care. Good luck on the campaign. We'll be checking on this very soon. All right.
Sounds great. Have a great night.
Take care. There we go.
All right, new thumbnail coming after this show.
Yeah. So, folks, the basic gist is going to be really enjoyed Supergirl. I do want to get into just a little bit of stuff. Want to show off two more things. Sean's got a couple more books to talk about. The spoiler part of the show, the review of the show, is definitely going to be shorter than what I thought it was going to be. But you know what, folks, this is what happens here. Yeah. When Ed asked me if he could come on, didn't even hesitate. I was like, dude, come on in. So things happen. If we got to talk about it next week, we can talk about it next week in more depth. Like, we will definitely change the thumbnail though.
Yeah.
But
we'll come up with a good one after the show and get it done.
Yeah. So real quick, been reading through my Max series. I love the Marvel Max stuff. This book in particular, Wolverine Max Permanent Rage. I cannot remember. Okay, so this is 1 through 5. Each one is named something different. This is basically opens up. Logan wakes up in the water. He has no idea how he got there. He's with, there's another woman laying next to him who is immediately eaten by a shark. And then the shark comes back for him. This part kind of doesn't make sense to me because animating bones, but whatever. Shark bites his legs off. Or his legs got blown off. Now I can't remember. One of the two happens, but there's a shark, I promise. Well, he's pulled from the water. And on the way to the hospital, his legs grow back. And he leaves. Now, again, he has no memory. He doesn't even know who he is. He's got an alias, apparently, of someone who has a lot of money. He's visited by Sabretooth. There's different art styles for some of the Sabretooth parts of the story. This is just a great read. The Marvel Max stuff to me is fantastic. So if you're a Wolverine fan and want to see Wolverine how he was in Logan, which I think Logan was the first time he was ever really properly used. So that's why I'm really glad we got him in Deadpool and Wolverine to see that version of him. Wolverine Max Permanent Rage is the book for you. Another one I've been reading because I've also been on I've been on a Max run, like I said, but Punisher Max Bullseye. This one is actually a second kind of volume because this collects 6 through 11 by Jason Aaron. And this one was actually written by Jason Starr, since I didn't mention that. I did not know. I knew Bullseye was not a good person, but he is a specific kind of crazy in this story. He's hired to kill Frank, and he decides to do that. He needs to live where Frank has lived, sleep where Frank has slept, wear clothes like Frank. He needs to have a family, get murdered like Frank did. Like, Bullseye's batshit in this book, but fantastic read. This and the Garth Ennis run of Punisher, the Max, that I think, yeah, that's a Max series. It's really good. And Punisher Girls in White Dresses is another very fantastic Max series. So that's all of that. Now let's talk about a couple more books. Then we're going to give real fast talk about Supergirl. But this one, we actually had Fred and Luca on the FOC show a couple weeks ago with Matthias to talk about this. I told Luca, because he's like, we're not going to take credit like we invented this name. I told him, you're wrong. I'm going to tell people that you two invented this name. This is Vampirates.
Yeah. This was a good read. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect of this because I don't remember the elevator pitch. But we were anticipating this one, God, for 3 or 4 months now, I want to say. It's a good story. Definitely did not start out like I thought it was going to. You basically start out where you see a guy fighting what looks like a vampire on his boat, and you learn apparently that some big war or something like that, they've signed a treaty. So he just basically robbed or plundered another boat or somewhere, and it was an illegal act. And instead of just being like, okay, I'm cool with this, he just goes completely rogue, kills the guy that came to arrest him, and is now a pirate. That's kind of the epilogue of the book, or prologue, whichever one's the forward word. Anyway, then you jump into current day where they try to have the queen marry somebody, and her cousin kills them during the wedding because she's learned that she's sleeping with a human, which apparently is just not good for vampires to do. So she escapes and ends up on this same ship with the group of pirates. And it kind of ends there. She's trying to find the human that she's in love with, and he went out on this quest on a different boat. So that's the gist of the story in 2 pages. The art is awesome. I think it's going to be a hit. It was definitely not what I was expecting, and I mean that in a good way. I'm sure as we get into the story, it'll be more of what I thought it was going to be. But it's an awesome read. You definitely have to pick this one up.
Definitely going to be checking this out soon. Going to see if maybe I can add it to my order from Third Eye Comics. Third Eye Comics, folks, is not local to us. I want to say they're based out of Maryland.
Yeah, they're in several cities in Maryland.
Yeah. But enjoy their exclusives, enjoy a bunch of their stuff. We got all our absolute stuff from them. So check out Third Eye Comics. I'm definitely going to be seeing about adding this one because, like I said, I've been incredibly excited for this one.
I want to
So,
go to our local LCS, Space City, and see if they've got it in DC
yeah,
physical.
either way, I'm going to be ordering this book.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already on top of that. Now this next one is a
We both,
movie very near and dear to my heart. Like, I thought I was excited when Greatest American Hero was made into a comic. This is my first introduction to Lance Guest. This is The Last Starfighter.
I haven't seen the movie in so long. I need to go back and rewatch it because it's been that long. But this book had no idea this was coming, and we went to our normal spot, and I saw this, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I read it, dude. This is my pick of the week, folks. If you're gonna read one comic this week, read this. So good. It takes place not long after the movie, and our main character, whose name escapes me completely at the moment, is tasked with rebuilding the Starfighters. And you find out that somebody has got him for him. It's so good. Can't say. I mean, I'm just gonna gush over this thing and say a whole bunch. It's so good. I mean, help me out here, Jay.
You're about where I am at this, man. I read this and I was like, now granted, they don't look exactly like the characters from the movie. I can get over that. But it's just a flood of nostalgia. Just a flood. I was like, I remember scenes that made me like, oh my goodness, like that character and this happened to that character. And I remember when I was upset when this happened to this character, but at the end of the movie, you find out, no, it actually kind of didn't happen. But I mean, Mad Cave, look, I've been saying this for a while, and I'll say it about both these companies. Dynamite for me has been hitting a stride with Disney Hanna-Barbera stuff. And what they didn't get, and Mad Cave has picked up, has just been phenomenal.
Like, I will put this, I think I'm going to enjoy this as much as I've been enjoying the Dick Tracy run.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is going to be a really good comic. Possibly something on that end of year list. Possibly. So, I'm going to gush. I want physical copies of this book so bad.
Yeah, like, again, it is, I think the coolest thing that I remember, because it's been a little bit since I read it, is, you got Alex, who's the main character. Most of you, if you don't know the story, there was a game called The Last Starfighter that was delivered to Alex's trailer park, and he beat the high score on it. Well, apparently this game was actually a training module by, I think they're called the Star League. I think that's what they're called. And, when he beat it, there's a guy that comes down, I forget the guy's name, but picks up Alex and takes him to space. And he fights in a starfighter for real. It's a movie that I feel it was very underappreciated at the time, but it was a movie that I watched over and over and over as a kid. And I think a really cool part is at the end of it, they put in an issue, because The Last Starfighter was a comic before, I believe. They put in like an issue that shows pretty much scenes from the movie. And I thought that was really neat. This one is going to be one to look out for, folks. If you've never seen The Last Starfighter, it's 80s campy goodness. It's 80s effects. But watch it, it'll bring the kid out in you. That sense of wonder you had when you saw a space movie, like after Star Wars, obviously. But man, Like, I love, and people think that stuff like this and the Hanna-Barbera stuff and Flash Gordon from Mad Cave and Dick Tracy and Greatest American Hero from AMP, that they're just like nostalgia grabs. And while there's a little bit of nostalgia you're going to feel for these books, the stories are good. That's the thing. It's not just relying on that nostalgia to draw you into the book. The story in the first issue of this was really good. I can't wait because Alex has been tasked because he's one of the two last survivors. What's up, Ed? Hail the weirdo trivia boss king. He's got to build a whole new Starfleet. Not Starfleet. That's yeah.
Star League.
Star League. There you go. He's got to build a whole new Star League, and they're going to different planets, finding candidates, but not so much a spoiler. But there's somebody that wants to stop them from doing that, and that's all I'm going to say. So, hey, I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you're not on the show. I'm glad you got some sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
Trust me, bro. We have not even talked about Supergirl. We had our bud Ed Davis show up, and we talked about his Kickstarter. It was a strange, kind of serendipitous thing because at the beginning of the show, his Kickstarter was like the first or second thing I showed off. And next thing I know, like 15 minutes later, he's messaging me. He goes, "Hey, do you still have your Saturday show?" And I was like, "Yeah, actually, I'm doing it right now." He goes, "Could I crash this one, or maybe we can wait till next week?" I was like, "No, man, come on in."
Yeah.
And we literally talked to him for about the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
He just ended up leaving.
So
yeah.
Yep. This one will just be retitled, probably depending on how much we talk, but we may just do Supergirl a different time. Give people an extra week.
Yeah, we'll give everyone an extra week. I know, and I'll probably go and put, no, if we're going to change the thumbnail, then I'll worry about all that other stuff later. But
It's
Last Starfighter?
Your choice. It's your choice. But yeah, Last Starfighter, dude, been a while since I gushed over a new comic like that. I was not expecting that one to come, and there it was.
Yeah, and I've already done my my list book. We're going to pick a new one here in a little bit. So the next thing I just want to run through these real quick. I haven't read these. These are books that are coming out this month that I'm really excited for. It's just this month. I think the list actually ends on the 29th. They're not in any particular order either. I just grabbed them because I thought the covers looked cool. So we're going to start out with Watson v. Holmes. A lot of these books, folks, I know nothing about. I just saw this cover and I was like, what? At first I thought it said Watson and Holmes. And I was like, oh, cool. We're getting a new Sherlock Holmes, Watson book. And then I saw the V in there. And then I saw the violin being used to cut this woman on the cover. I was like, is this going to be a Watson and Holmes horror story? Very well could be.
And a nice Alex Ross inspired cover there too.
Yes. Yeah.
It looks like the Harley Quinn Joker cover.
It does. It does a little bit, yeah. I definitely see it. So next one, I've been talking about this one for a bit, y'all. It is on my list of stuff that my order that I'm getting in. Terminal from Robert Kirkman. This just looks like 90s goodness with Robert Kirkman writing. Yeah. I'm so down for this. I even almost thought about getting a blind bag. That's how excited I am. Yep. That's how excited I am for this one. So yeah, this is Terminal. It's a whole new series coming from Kirkman, and I'm very big into Robert Kirkman. You could almost say that I'm invincible. But yeah, that one's coming. So really excited for that. This next one I know I showed off before, but it's getting closer to coming out, and this to me is just the perfect mashup cover. I don't think I've ever seen a mashup done as well as this right here. Like everyone else, I think you can pack it up and go home. I don't think anybody's beating this mashup cover. But prove me wrong. Please feel free to prove me wrong. Because if there's somebody that can come up with something better than this, I sure as hell want to see it. Now, this next one is one that I found out because Kristen, and I'm going to butcher her name too, like I do with most names, Kristen Crook or Kruick, who played Lana Lang on Smallville, and she was also in the first season of Reacher. She's doing a comic. Now, there's something else that's kind of special about this comic. I just found out who the letterer on this comic was. Sean, can you guess who the letterer on this comic was?
I think it's going to be named Dave Lentz.
Yes. I was super excited when I saw that. I was like, look, I was going to get, check this book out anyway. But the fact that Dave's lettering it, then that tells me it's got to be something to it. Got to be some quality here. So super excited to check that one out. This next one, Horror Comics American Nightmares. Again, know nothing about it. I saw the cover. And I was just like, yeah, the cover alone has me intrigued. This next one, I just said something about it, but I had to grab this particular homage cover. Let's go. When this book comes out, this is the cover I'm going to be looking for. I love not only using the Action Comics #1, but the fact that it looks like a comic I probably have in my collection somewhere. And that's not because I let it get like that. I literally, if I can read the comic, I'll get it. Garage sales, what have you, if it looks like this, I'll still get it because I want to read the story. And I loved that first issue that we got for Free Comic Book Day. So, AMP Comics, you're definitely going to have a subscriber on this one. And like I said, if I can find this cover, this is going to be the cover that I get.
Better jump on the Third Eye.
Yep. Probably do that right after the show. So this next one, there is a Free Comic Book Day book that I can't remember because I got the stack over here still because I need boards. I have bags, I just don't have boards. It was Planet of the Apes with Predator. Well, this one is Predator versus the Planet of the Apes. Now, it might have been an Aliens and Predator, or like Aliens and Planet of the Apes book, but it's one of the two. I can't remember. But this is a Predator versus Planet of the Apes. And I am super, super intrigued by this one. Next up, Nosferatu Nightmares.
Huh.
Again, I saw the cover, and I was like, okay.
This looks like an Ed book.
It very well could be. But yeah, I saw this, and I was like, all right, horror comics, you guys are kind of kicking it up a notch with some of these covers and stuff. Not that they were ever bad before, but this one is very much, holy crap. This next one I had to grab just because. Street Fighter versus the Valiant Universe.
Yes.
What a crazy crossover this looks to be. It's got Tim Seeley and Timmy Heed. Haig, I can't remember how you say it.
And then we get this would be Bloodshot versus Cammy, and then we get a small side story of Ninjak and Dawson.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Timmy is a comic shop owner too, I believe. I know of him through Miss Jen and Kyle. He also did some Archie horror stuff. I think he had a story or two, and like Archie's Toy Box or something. I can't remember. And the reason that there's horror is because I just decided that instead of like reading a bunch of books and talking about them, I had a couple of books that I've already read at home. I showed those off. And then I just went through just this month. It ends on the 29th. Just this month of number ones that I thought looked interesting. And some of the horror stuff were the ones that really looked interesting to me.
Yeah.
Now, this last one, I want to believe in this company almost as much as I do about Valiant. Okay. I want to believe in this company. This book has been pushed back so many times, but I found this and it says July 29th. This is Savager number 3. I loved those first 2 issues of Savager so much. I'm hoping that we're going to get this. I'm hoping against hope.
I will believe it when I see it.
Yep, and that's exactly how I feel about it. And it sucks because not this past Friday when we had Stepan Sage on, but the Friday before, or the Friday before that. Damn, now I don't remember. We had David DeSmalchin and Leah Kilpatrick talking about their book that they're doing with Panic. The first 2 issues were great. I hope that this doesn't become another Atoll for me. Atoll is a book that one of the coolest shark books I've ever read. It was only 2 issues. 3rd issue kept getting delayed. Tim Daniel, or Daniels, I can't remember which one it is. He's one of the people on Estuary right now. And he's been on a bunch of stuff that people have probably read. That was his book. Not sure what happened. We got 2 issues of it. We're supposed to get a 3rd. It was delayed, and it's been delayed. I think we got the original book 2016, 2017. It was a long time ago. It's much like the unfinished Bedlam, but Bedlam at least got 2 trades. I'm really hoping against hope, folks, that this book comes out. I want to believe in this company. I've dug this series. I really like Tama. So I'm hoping that this time this comes
Everything
out.
online says that this is coming out this week, or it came out last week.
Yeah, well, on League at least, it says July 29th. But,
Oh, yeah, there it is. Hurry up and come out with this book already.
Yeah.
Need it. It was like, I just need more. I need to go back and reread and get more, because it's one of those where I think that'll be on the end of your list because it's a good story. But I need to finish it.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait till 2027 to finish this book.
Yeah. The dragons are coming, okay? They're coming. It's going to be the greatest thing. The peach is coming. South Park reference for those in the know. It's going to be the greatest peach you ever seen. I could have started singing the theme song, but I'll leave that. I'll leave that out. So yeah, folks. Obviously, we didn't get to Supergirl spoilers. Things happen though. Like I said, when Ed Davis asked to be on, I was like, you know what? Hell yeah. We can always talk about Supergirl later.
Yep.
And again, without the whole crew here, it would have just been a love fest anyway. Like, needed some differing opinions. That's my spoiler for everyone. Let me read it from my scripted note that I had. Just copy and paste. Watched it twice, dug it. Might not be for everyone. It's weird that they used an Elseworld story for a main continuity movie. What else did I have on here? Nothing, because I didn't write anything down. That's just what I remembered that I said. But yeah, really dug the movie. Do yourself a favor, folks. Don't listen to critics. Like, there's a bunch of critics that I like that I trust that didn't dig this, and it worked out. It worked for me both times. Had a good time watching it. So watch things for yourself. If you don't like it, cool.
That's
You don't like it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this universe that I think there's going to be people who like certain things and they don't. Again, Creature Commandos for me was like the weakest thing so far. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. You know, it's weird what they did with Krim, because the actor kind of looked like how the actor himself, not when they put the makeup on him and all the weird Cenobite necromonger biker thing from Weird Science, like Ed said. Like, the actual actor looked like the comic counterpart. So I have no idea why they did what they did with him. But I'll get into like more of my gripes, that and the music, which was my same gripe with Superman. The needle drop worked for Jenna. I can tell you that. She liked it. I felt like I would have been more into it if we hadn't heard 80 other indie pop songs beforehand. That was my main issue with it. But again, I also didn't like the ending song of Superman, because all I heard was space pants. I have got my space pants on. If anybody knows that Peter Dinklage clip. Sorry, the punk rocker song just didn't do it for me. That's whatever. But like I said, it wasn't without its issues. Okay, I'm not saying it was a perfect movie by any means, but really enjoyed it. And if there's people that didn't enjoy it, I'm not going to go dogpile on them and be like, you should love this movie, because that's stupid. That'd be like them coming to tell me, no, you should hate this movie. It's not going to happen. You know, I said this, and I can't remember if Sean was here or not when I said this. We need to get back to being able to dislike things without trashing human beings.
Yep.
Like, you should be able to not like something, you know?
Yeah. Because, like I said at the beginning of the show, the people that are trashing it solely because of they don't like or think that Millie Alcock is pretty. It's like, get the fuck over yourselves, people.
Yeah.
There was somebody that's like, Anna Taylor-Joy should have played her. I'm like, no, she shouldn't have. I love her as an actress. No, she shouldn't have been Supergirl. But
Millie wasn't my first pick. Meg Donnelly, who actually voiced Supergirl in the cartoon movies, was in the running. That's who I wanted for Supergirl. Yeah. But you know what? I think Millie did a great job.
Mm-hmm. I think for what they want Supergirl to be, I think it's going to work. And
that's an unknown. That's awesome to hear. But I do know certain people who just didn't like it. Wasn't for them. And that's fine. This DCU, I think, is going to be it's going to be a lot different. But I think, again, there's going to be certain things that click with people, and there's going to be certain things where they're like, I can do without that.
Yeah. I'll be very curious to see the general consensus of Clayface, because that's going to be so far off the beaten path.
Yeah. And, is that going to be where we get our Superman? Who knows? Or not Superman, I'm sorry, Batman. Again, also very strange that we started the second movie in the universe with Supergirl and not going to the safe route with Batman or Wonder Woman, but I'm not running the universe, so it's out of my hands. We're gonna get what we get. I know there's also a lot of people freaking out because it did underperform at the box office. So, here comes the torch and pitchforks. They're definitely going to fire James Gunn after this. You know what? If they do, they do. If James Gunn gets out of his contract, doesn't re-sign, I actually wouldn't blame him. for all the crap and the hate that he gets, just like Snyder. I would never want Snyder. We talked about this before too. People are like, I want Henry Cavill back as Superman. And I was like, Warner Brothers doesn't deserve him. I hope he doesn't, with all the crap that he got. And I'm not talking about James Gunn fired him, because that's not what happened.
No.
But all the crap that happened, the fact that we didn't get a Man of Tomorrow, Man of Steel 2 movie, it was BVS isn't a sequel to me. It's not a Superman sequel to me. But we never got a Man of Steel sequel. In a perfect world, it would have been Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow, Superman. That's how it would have ended. We never got that. I don't want Henry to come back. I don't. Like, if he does,
if for no other reason than how they did him dirty with the Black Adam thing.
Yeah. If Henry comes back, cool. I don't, that's whatever. But I've told people before, if they ever decided to bring back all the Snyder stuff, doesn't matter to me. I don't care who's running it. I just want movies. Yeah, and that's another thing. I don't pretend to know how any of this stuff works. I just know that when HBO Max got rid of South Park, Paramount picked them up. Like, that's my extent of knowing what the hell's going on with that. But again, if it's not Gunn running it, if it's somebody else, fine. Like, I enjoy stuff that these directors do. I do. I want to make that clear in case somebody's watching this later and like, oh, he hates James Gunn. Don't. I don't at all.
Don't even try.
Oh, well, you're shilling for this because Zack Snyder did this, blah 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 blah. I'm like, when people say that to us, when I drop a video talking about how excited I am for DCU, and we get comments about Zack Snyder living rent free in our heads, I can assuredly say you have never watched this channel before if you think we hate Zack Snyder. You've definitely never watched anything from me if you think I don't like Zack Snyder or Man of Steel or the DCEU. I get crap for liking the DCEU stuff. I get crap for liking the stuff in this new universe. So for me, it just doesn't matter. I'm going to like what I like. If you don't like it, cool. But you can't come at me and say, well, you don't like Gunn or you don't like Snyder. Exactly. I like good movies that are good for me. 100%, Lorena. 100%. I want that to be known. I want people to be able to voice their opinions, but we got to find a better way of voicing our opinions where we don't have to. It doesn't feel like we're beating down somebody else. Oh, you didn't like this movie? We're going to dogpile you because you didn't. Yeah. And see, Unknown, that's another thing. That's the same thing. Like, for some reason, and I can't even tell you how, I knew about Rocket and Groot. Didn't know about the rest of it. He took no-name characters. And again, he took liberties with them being no names and people that weren't like super fans of them. But he created a very badass trilogy.
Yep.
Like, the third movie still makes me freaking cry. I don't think 2 is as strong as 1, but I still like the trilogy. Like, that's yeah.
I think arguably he created the best trilogy of the Marvel movies. If you're talking about consistency. Because the Iron Man stuff just for me, Iron Man is 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Yeah.
3 is so far down. The Thor stuff. The second one, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The Dark World one is one of the most underrated MCU films.
Agreed.
But yeah, you can almost argue that he probably has the strongest trilogy.
Yeah.
Of the Marvel stuff. Well,
again,
no, I can't say that because Spider-Man.
Dude, Spider-Man is about to be the freaking whatever 10 is. You got an Oct trilogy and then you got a 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, and We're Marvel shills for liking that, and I don't care. I'm a shill for everything.
I'm a comic book movie shill, and I'm okay with that.
And see, I love that. I love that James Gunn did that. And again, I've told people, it's like, dude, I'm a James Gunn fan. That is true. After watching 3, and then not too long ago, I went and did a trilogy rewatch, and I was like, you know what? I think I like 2 a little bit more than I did the first couple times I watched it. Still not as good as 1 or 3 to me, but I definitely liked it more after watching it. These years after watching the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, James Gunn's done a ton of incredible stuff. Like it's really funny. I'll tell this story real quick. So we had Scott Innes. He has been the voice of Scooby-Doo since '98, I think, when they released Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. We had him on Aggressive Positivity this past Tuesday. And apparently, according to him, he said James Gunn's only regret about the Scooby-Doo movies, was making Scrappy the bad guy. My heart was so full when I heard that, because that was my main complaint about the first Scooby-Doo movie. It's like, no, you can't make Scrappy the bad guy. But I enjoy the Scooby-Doo movies too. I enjoy Slither. Like, there's so many things, and I've enjoyed most of his DCU stuff. I just don't understand, if you hate something so much, why you're constantly talking about it and watching it. Like, I don't get it. It's like, man, get off my lawn. I'm going to be the old guy here. If you don't like it, get off my lawn. It's okay to tell me you don't like something, but when you see some of these folks out here that make 80,000 videos, and it's the same thing every time, just with a different title.
Yeah.
At some point, it's like, man, if you hate it that much, why are you hate watching it? You're still giving it numbers. I don't get watching something you dislike. I don't get it. You watch something once, you didn't like it. Why would you ever, like, maybe some of them, I'll give them a benefit of the doubt. There's sometimes we watch movies, we watch certain things where maybe we're not in the right frame of mind. And then later on, we decide we're going to give it one more shot. Now, sometimes you get to a point where you're like, okay, this isn't as bad as I remember it. I actually do like this. And there's other times where you're like, nope, I was right the first time. So I wasted another 2 hours of my life. But most of us, when we do that, we're done. That's it. Yeah, he did the movie Super. Rainn Wilson is awesome in that. And at the time, I even messed up then. At the time, Ellen Page was crazy in that movie. But yeah, he did Super. That's a deep cut. That's a weird movie, but super fun. And Brightburn, what did he do on that? Because he didn't direct it.
Hold on.
I think he wrote it. He was involved in that movie somehow.
He was a producer.
Producer, okay. So, I mean, can't really that one, but he did get a lot of the people from that movie in the DCU so far. Yeah, I don't get it. I can like both. I love Man of Steel. Love Superman. I love Superman in general. I just don't get the hatred. And it's just like with this. You can dislike the movie. I'm not telling you have to like it, but man, some of the hate for this movie is just ridiculous. They're superhero movies. Some are better than others, but for some of the just the hatred and vitriol that comes out of, like, again, I don't get it. As a kid, it was freaking taboo to even mention you like comic books. Now they're everywhere. I don't know. Just a weird thing for me. So that's pretty much it, folks. Except for I need to pick a new book on the list.
You just read the list.
So let me see. Did I make sure I took out? Yes. Okay. Alrighty. So we are going to, as soon as I figure out what I'm doing here.
Who knows?
There we go.
I'll join it on the list from now on, since it's a more regular thing for me to be here.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome, man. All right, so here we go, folks. Remember, the list book for last week is kind of closer to the beginning of the video, and it was Dungeon Crawler Carl, the free comic book day. That was Kyle's pick. I dug it. So I'm going to shuffle this a little bit. And then let's see what the book next week is going to be. It is...
Oh, okay.
Ooh, Nope's pick, Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. All right. Okay. I am super excited for that one. Green Hell is the only Swamp Thing book that I have read, and I really enjoyed that. So getting some Swamp Thing from Alan Moore could be fun. So again, folks, check the description of this video if you made it this far. In a little while, I'm going to put links to Ed's Kickstarter and his YouTube and
his website.
His website. Thank you. In the description, so you can go check that out. Because YouTube's kind of weird about once you end a show, how long it takes for the live chat to show back up. It's never like the same number every time. And we're definitely going to change the thumbnail. Yeah. Didn't get into any of the spoiler talk, and it's already almost 3 hours in. And my voice is going. So, unknown, you might have shown up after this happened. We had our buddy Edward Davis, who has a Kickstarter going on right now for issue 12, volume 2 of his story, Immortal Era. That's kind of what happened with the show. We were going to do spoilers, and then I had shared this at the beginning of the show, and then without planning it, Ed asked me if he could come on. So we spent about an hour and a half talking to him. Great dude, man. I love talking to Ed and our Ed as well. But Edward Davis, go check that Kickstarter out. I'm going to go ahead, since we're at the last little bit of it here, put some of his other links in there. So here's the Kickstarter page, or not the Kickstarter, the store web page. There you go. The site. What was I doing? That is his YouTube. There you go, Jay. Use the right words, man. And then I'm going to post a link to his site so you can get back issues and stuff like that. Oh, cool. Yeah, he was, I want to say Ed was the first person when we were Triangle of Truth getting started. He was the first person to send us digitals to read.
Yeah, he was.
Let's see, we got live on YouTube in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts. Like, I'm thinking about that now. Holy crap. We've been backing and talking to Ed since 2019.
The good times.
Yeah. So make sure you check out those links, folks. much like always, I'm gonna have Sean end it. This will be the last time I have him end it. Then we'll start swapping out. It's just right now I did so much talking, my voice is kind of going out. So I just want to thank you all. Like as always, I mean that every week when I say it. I appreciate anybody who comes by and watches this chaos. I appreciate all the comments. I really do. I think I speak for all of us here. We That's all I can say. We appreciate every single person. We appreciate the fact that a lot of you come back every week. Like it's nuts to me that people will sit here and watch us ramble. But just know that all of you are so appreciated. I hope to see you all on the EXP during the week. Check out every link I'm going to drop in the chat here later. Damn, there it goes. All right, folks, I'm going to let Sean end it. Y'all take care. Have a safe and awesome rest of your weekend, and I will catch you next time. Later.
All right. Well, hope everybody enjoyed this impromptu episode of basically just talking about Immortal Era with Edward Davis. It was very cool. This is the first time I've gotten a chance to talk to him face to face or screen to face. So it was very cool to have that experience. Next week, we will be back with Supergirl reviews. Keep an eye out. Of course, O'Hare is going to be starting up soon on Kickstarter. We're really hoping we can get Scott Wilkie back on for that one. We also just got the digital copies in for Murderberry number 3, which is by far and away our most popular long-form video. I think just before the show, we were sitting just shy of 3,800 views, which is insane. So keep an eye out, because once we get that, we're going to definitely do the unboxing and the review combo videos. That's going to be something that's going to be a lot more common moving forward now that my schedule is a lot more set. But yeah, if you've got any books you want to share with us, leave them down in the comments. Let us know. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great week until we see you next Saturday, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out.
We talk about everything that makes us hum. Hail Hydra Asylum, hail Hydra Asylum. From trailers, comics, news, and more, we'll give you what you're looking for. Hail Hydra Asylum, hail, 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 hail Hydra Asylum.
Hydra.
Hydra. Oh, fantastic.